right, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. Another live of the Real Paint Talks PSC special guest coming in right now. Hopefully I get his name right. I know it's John, but Gilles is the last name from, you know him from paint school. Let's bring him on in here and have another great chat with another great painter. See where he's at. I know he's on vacation. I think he's on vacation. Probably skiing. He's probably on the hill. No, he's not on the hill.
Yeah, you got the last name right, Gilles.
Yeah, Gilles. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, you sound way better this time around.
Okay, so I got a direct input this time. I was relying too much on the Bluetooth, and Bluetooth is not acceptable.
How was it on the your recording?
So it's a little tricky. So it's like Instagram will do kind of all the audio editing for you, and then when it posts, it sounds pretty good. But when I go from here, Bluetooth through to the board, when that comes back up in my program, it was not, I couldn't figure it out. And I think from everything that I researched, it's because the Bluetooth, the quality just, goes way down. Yeah. My wife was watching and she was like, as soon as you went live, your audio went to like shit. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to try and edit it and chop it up, but we'll see what I can do. We'll see.
Cool.
So how are you, man? How's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
I am alone. Yeah. For the last couple of days. And it was cool of you to reach out.
Yeah.
Good time.
Absolutely, man. I seen you were on holiday for sure. So I'm like, oh, nice. So why don't you give us a brief introduction just to who you are, what you do, and then, we'll just get along from there, man.
Okay. So I've got a company in Southern California in Huntington Beach. I've been painting personally for like 22, 23 years and running the business for about 19. We typically have like around 20 to 25 guys. And I really probably started pushing for growth maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So now we're at a stage where we bounce back and forth. Do I want to grow really big or stay where we are?
So you guys taking on all sorts of work, right?
Yeah, we do. It's mostly residential. We do like maybe 10% commercial. And we're doing a lot of cabinet refinishing and then interior exterior painting.
Okay, nice.
Bread and butter stuff.
So that 10% commercial, is that kind of just like storefront stuff or like real big mass square footage stuff?
Not huge. We might do like some 20,000 square foot buildings or something like that, but nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
We're not like brand new tilt ups or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's typically like we don't adjust our pricing for commercial. So when we do bid on commercial, our prices are way too high. Like the guys doing commercial full time, they got bottom prices,
Mm-hmm.
So when we come in, our prices are like, 30%, 40% higher. And so typically the jobs that we do on the commercial side are like the owner got in contact with us, right, or like they're looking for a better quality. They're not looking for a blow and go job.
Gotcha.
Type of commercial jobs we do.
Nice. Yeah, I've tried not to take on too much commercial stuff. I find that for one, I don't know the pricing really, and I don't really want to test jobs to see if I'm right or not. Right. Yeah. So I've done a couple small things, but nothing too crazy, too crazy. And then of course you need the manpower. So you said you have about 20 to 25 guys on a regular, eh?
Yeah. We have enough manpower to do them, but you really have to like be built for it.
Yeah.
Like labor costs. My guys are too expensive to do commercial work, so like we could do it at our prices, but we can't compete. It's tough because like early on I would kind of take them because they're big price tags,
Yeah.
like $1,000 project, pretty easy. It might be on the smaller side of commercial job. And I think that lures a lot of like new business owners into it, and then they get screwed and then they don't get paid for 90 days. And then,
Yeah. No, I totally feel you, man. I tested the waters a little bit and I could see that. I was like, man, like when I see guys ordering paint by like the pallet, I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit of a different game here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You gotta have like pretty deep pockets. You gotta have big accounts at the stores, right? So they'll float you whatever, $20,000 orders. They'll give you longer payment terms. Like the companies that are doing commercial only are like paying 60, 90 days out. they're floating payroll for 2 months, 3 months at a time. You know, like they've got to have a $500,000 line of credit just to keep doing business, you know?
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a lot.
people are crazy, right? Like there's companies that have like $1 million owed to them. You know, work is done, everything's paid for, and they just got $1 million sitting out there, you know? And it's like they're just living off of line of credit, you know?
That's scary as fuck, man. That's major leverage game right there. I don't know about that. I don't like that too much.
But they make big money too, you know?
Yeah,
so
true.
So it's worth it at some point, right? But you got to have everything lined up for it, you know?
Yeah. No thanks. And then of course it's like, how do you control all that? Like, so that's kind of another question I wanted to ask you. Like, how do you control all that? Is it you? Do you have systems in play? Do you have people that help you? Do you go digital? Because like a friend of mine here, his family owns a big painting company, and they painted the Amazon building. And the one day he was like, I can't remember what happened. He's like, dude, I got like 6 Zoom booms sitting in the Amazon building, just sitting there. Nobody in them. Paint needs to be flying out of them every single day, every minute. And I'm like, damn, man. So it's like he just babysits. You know what I mean? So like, do you really have to do that, or you have?
Mostly no, but a little bit yes. So I've got a couple of guys who would be like crew leaders or foremen, and there's a couple of them that they don't know my system well enough, and I need to train them better. But those are, you know, so like I have 2 guys that I babysit more, you know, or like keep an eye on them, check in on them throughout the day. If they're on a difficult project, I'll check in a couple times throughout the day. But just a phone call, like, what are you guys working on right now? What's the plan the rest of the day? You know?
Yeah.
And then adjust it if I think I need to.
Yeah, that's like a whole juggling act right there, right?
Yeah. But most of my foremen know the routine. They know the process. So it's not much check-in.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Cause I was thinking like, I always feel like it's hard to not get in your way. You know, like some guys they always want it to be like so good. So like, how do you gauge what's good? How do you gauge what's bad? And then how do you gauge which guy to put there? It's like everybody has their place, but it's like, man, sometimes you're like, dude, like it should have been done already. It's like, well, hold on, it's got to be nice. So like, how do you gauge that?
That's tough.
It is.
So probably like, I think 6 years ago now, I hired a guy. I'd been working with him as he was a consultant for me, and I hired him full time for a year. And during that period when we're talking about growth, because his whole idea is just scale, right? Like build everything to scale.
Right.
Then you add in as many people as you want. These are the 5 positions you need to fill at any given time, and make it as big as you can handle, right? Like you just have to pay for leads, you know, through marketing, advertising, whatever. If you can make the phone ring enough, you can just put people in this system and grow as big as you want.
Yeah.
So going through that process in the beginning was really tough for me because I had to like let go of some quality, right? Like there was.
So that's what I was going to say. Like me and Philip were talking about this on the last podcast, because I feel like the more guys, the more people, if it's not really their baby, even if it's like your lead hands, there's no way the quality is going to stay up here. Or you're just maybe taking on work for a certain sector of those guys that might just need a certain quality, right?
Right. So I have some guys that have it in them to do high quality work, right? Like they'll do more than I would. I would cut some more corners than they will, right? But that's just how they were born or how they were raised or whatever, right? I can't teach them that, you know, they just do it that way. But it's rare. Like you can't build a company around only those people if you want to build something big. The guy that I brought on to help with business, people didn't like him. He was not a very likable person. He was, but not very likable, right? And so it was like me trying to be a middleman between all my employees and him trying to like be HR.
Oh, you know, my God.
New rules.
So is that pretty bad for you? You have a good group of guys, or is it constant babysitting? Just some guys not like each other and not get along? I think that's everywhere.
but I've got a pretty good group of
That's
guys.
sweet.
I mean, we bought a cabin in the mountains like 5 months ago. And so for the past, I don't know, for a while now, I've been coming up here like 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Originally to do like remodel stuff, for the first month or two. And then we have snow in the mountains, so I snowboard and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's where you're at. You're staying at your cabin, eh? Nice.
So like I can be up here, all week if I wanted to. Like Friday, I like to go and hand out checks and stuff like that. Say hi to everyone. Usually, like, I don't have to get all the projects started, but some of them I like to be there in the beginning. Some of them I'll have my estimator be there in the beginning. I'll just meet with the client again. He sold the job, so it's nice for them to see him, I think. But yeah, like during the week, I can do all my stuff over the phone or on the computer, be anywhere really. And yeah, it's really just checking up on the guys that I need to check up on, and I've only got a few of them, and they would do fine. Like in most companies, they would be fine there with no supervision. But I schedule everything tight. I'm like, my jobs are back to back to back. We don't miss deadlines. We don't miss start dates. Like, so.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing a few of them, right? That's super important.
That's, I had a conversation with one of my guys today, one of the ones I need to keep an eye on. I was letting him know, like, if we don't finish this project today, then I have to figure out who's going to start the next project tomorrow. Right.
Yep.
And knowing if you're going to be 2 hours or 6 hours tomorrow will help me figure out what my plan's going to be for tomorrow. Right. And it's like, everybody wants 40 hours a week, and like in residential, it's not that easy to do. Like we have plenty of work to do it, but when do you schedule the next start date for that next job, And I know some people do like a floating start date, like around February, it's like, I personally don't like that. I wouldn't like that if somebody gave me that kind of a floating schedule.
Yeah, I get that in new home construction. Sometimes it's like really tight. Other times it's like we could be a little early. I don't like to be late. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but that's not somebody living in the house.
No, hell no.
Has kids to figure out what to do with, dogs,
Yeah.
And then I think here where we live, we're by the beach and pretty rich areas. People value that stuff, being timely, having a fixed start date, not missing it, having a fixed completion date and not missing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially if they're nice houses, man, because some people keep their stuff tip top, so it's like they want you in, out. It's like already an inconvenience sometimes for you to be there.
Of course, like for sure it's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how easygoing you are, it's still strangers in your house.
Yeah.
We had a flooring project done at our house, and the flooring contractor was like, I don't know, a friend of the sister, something like that. They went to high school together or whatever. And the guy did some work for some other people in our family and then came and did our floors. And I'm like super easygoing, like stuff doesn't really bother me, but how inconsistent he was with the schedule was like, dude, he was like showing up at 10 a.m. some days, 9 a.m. some days leaving at 3, some days leaving at 5. And it's like, dude, just give me like give me a range, right? Does that range, And, but some people run their business like that.
Yeah, some people do. And some people get away with it and, well, not away with it, but they get along with it. And I don't know. I try and keep it tight.
Yeah, they get away with it and they just keep doing it.
And they just keep doing it over and over and over again. But I think it's like you say, you have to like really push for that sometimes. I think if you let the owners and the other people make too many decisions, sometimes it can be bad. But if they have times and dates, yeah, you should do whatever the fuck you can to get it in there for them. You're right. It's what they want. It's customer service. It's a service game.
Yeah. And we don't, I can't recall any times really when we've missed deadlines, just like for original scope and missing a deadline. There have been times when the scope has changed and we've had to extend dates or whatever. But just communicating with the client, like it's pretty simple. As soon as let them know, like, hey, I don't think we're going to hit Friday now. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
You know, come in Monday, we added all this stuff in. Like most people are reasonable. Like if you communicate with them, you're fair with them, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of guys don't communicate either, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like they don't want to hear an answer.
Yeah, why'd they get so mad? I was only 8, right? Or I only missed it by 1 day. That's a big.
That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm a little OCD, so I'd rather be ahead. I hate the empty promises. You know.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think it just looks bad. But I don't know. How do you get most of your business? Is it referral? Do you do anything like do you use any apps or anything digital like that? And I actually wanted to ask you that too about like when you are sending messages to your clients and your guys, is that just you texting or do you have like an app?
No, we just do it through email.
Oh, okay.
Getting work, we get like pretty close to 50% is referral and repeat. So we get about $1 million a year, just referral and repeat business.
Wow, nice.
But that took 20 years to get that, right?
Okay, yeah, say that again. Right? Because that's the thing. It's like, so I mean, I do think that if you were set up right and you knew your shit and you were professional and all those, if you checked all those boxes off, I think you could grow that fast. But I think it would have to be a very special individual because like all those experiences and mistakes and that stuff matters. So like you say, that 20 years, that mattered the most to get to that million. Right?
Well, that's $1 million that's not going to go away, right? Like that's $1 million keep turning over every year, and it's going to be 1.1 the year after that, 1.25 the year after that, right? Like that compounds. You know, the first year it was 20,000, right? So that's the repeat and referral happens. It just compounds, and that happens no matter what, right? Whether you market a ton or you don't. You do good work. You know, you do the things you say you're going to do, like you're reliable, you answer your phone when there's a problem. You get the repeat business, the referral business.
Yeah. So that's 50%, eh?
Yeah.
Wow,
and then,
that's really good.
Yeah. Besides that, is like, you know, we don't do AdWords or Facebook ads or anything like that. We're listed on Yelp, which is big here. I don't think it's big everywhere, but here it's big, and you know, we're one of the top people on it in our area, and so we get, you know, 20, 25 calls a week just from Yelp.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Or not, but a lot. We get a lot of business there.
What do you think of Yelp?
I mean, it does well for me, you know, because we're highly rated. You know, we have a lot of reviews on there. I think we have like 150 or so.
Wow.
We've been on there for however many years. You know, like I talked to a guy yesterday, and he was asking for references, you know, people that he could call, you know, to verify me or whatever. And I was like, well, you know, I mean, if you go online, like you can look at Yelp reviews for me going back like 7 or 8 years, you know, like really, if you need more than that, and it's, you know, probably not going to work out, right? Like the references I'm going to give you are people that are going to tell you how great I am.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Here's a shitty reference. Just have them trash me for a while.
And I tell people that, right? Like I told them that the references I'm going to give be people that are going to talk about how great I am.
Yeah, duh.
You know, like it's not just being honest, right? But if you check my reviews, we've got like between like Angie's List and Home Advisor and Google, like we have a 10-year online history of doing good work, you know? So look at that, right?
Yeah, here, well, only from the people that I've chatted to. Sorry, my monitor went off. Most of the people that I chat to here are in the restaurant business, and they hate Yelp. Like they think Yelp is like drastically bad for their company. You know what I mean?
I mean, I would hate it too if I were a restaurant business for sure. Yeah, I would hate it. Reviews on there, and I have some bad reviews, you know.
And you can't get rid of them, can you?
No.
And I don't know if I'd want to get rid of them at the same time, but I have seen some horror stories where people are just like digging in, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a couple people to remove their reviews just by threatening them, you know, legal action.
Oh, okay. Legally threatening them.
Yeah. They can't like make false claims, right?
Right.
So there have been cases where contractors have sued clients for making false claims and have won. They've won settlements for loss of business, right?
Uh-huh.
So it happens, and that's what I tell people, right? If they're making false claims, then I'll send them a little letter.
Yeah, I mean, true enough, because it's like, if I've ever made a mistake and had somebody call me out on it, it's way easier, people, to just be like, oh fuck yeah, shoot, yeah, let me get that. You know what I mean?
100%. And like a lot of times, those people turn out to give referrals and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It can be the biggest pains in the neck, but you keep answering your phone, you keep doing the right thing, like, but yeah, we might have like 5 bad reviews in there.
Yeah.
I don't mind having some bad ones, it looks more realistic. And then in the way you explain the bad review, it's like, they kind of sound crazy anyway,
Yeah. So I was on House. Have you ever heard of House? Yeah. But I only did that more as like some research and development, right? Like when this stuff first started coming around, I was like, I'm not even really into that demographic. I don't do a lot of repaints. All the repaints I get are referral, and no ads and stuff like that. But a ton of people have also said that, and I don't know how true this is. I don't do it a lot, but that those sites, and they can, like, you could just ask someone to give you a review, right? Technically. Yeah. So, some people are saying home stars and stuff. So I started with that a little bit, but I found it only moved and worked right after my payment would come out. I swear to God, dude, I swear, it'd be like, I wouldn't get any leads. And all of a sudden it's like the payment would come out and it'd be like, boom, 3 leads, all tire kickers. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is retarded.
I had a really bad experience with Yelp like 2 or 3 years ago. So like at one point I was getting like 40 or 50 calls a week from Yelp, just from Yelp only, like crazy amount of calls, right? And good leads. We weren't paying them anything for advertising. We paid like $70 a month just so people couldn't advertise on our page, right?
Okay.
So you page, if you don't pay that money, there's like 3 other companies on your page, right? It's like, oh, if you like these, you should also try these, right? So we just paid the $70 a month so people couldn't advertise on our page. I loved Yelp. Like we got so much business out of it.
No doubt.
And, it was like going into winter time, like we don't have a real winter. So
whoa. So where are you right now then on that ski? Is that all man-made snow, that ski resort? Like, where are you?
So right now I'm in Big Bear, California.
We chatted about this once. Yes. Yeah.
So it's like 2 hours away from Huntington Beach.
I see.
And we're at like 8,000 feet up here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I did like an advertising thing with Yelp. I think I started in like October or something like that, just to keep things flowing through wintertime. And my leads went down. Like my lead count went down. And I'd let it run for a few months, like 3 months to give it a good test. And at the end of that period, I called them to cancel the advertising, and the person online's like, why do you want to cancel? I'm like, my leads, like I'm getting fewer leads now than before I was paying $1,000 a month. It's like, well, that doesn't seem right. I was like, well, like, look at the numbers. Like there's data and graphs and everything for the exact leads you get, like time frame, year over year. And, the guy's like, I don't know why that happened, but you're right. And yeah, we'll go ahead and cancel it. After that, all my leads dropped off. Then it was like down to whatever, significantly lower.
You're like, oh, this guy's complaining. Cut him off.
And I did that for like 3 months,
Yeah. See, I don't like that shit.
No, it's shady. And then they changed up their system right now where, so we rank like number 1 in a lot of areas locally. And now they used to, if you search Huntington Beach painters, it would be like number 1, number 2, number 3, and then they'd sprinkle advertisers in there. Now they show all the paid advertisers first, and then you get to number 1. So now you see 10 other companies before you even.
And it's just a freaking dick swinging competition. Whoever's paying the most, getting to the top, doesn't mean they're even the best, or we should stop. Actually, I should actually stop using that word. Doesn't even mean they're actually that great, but you know what I mean? So I didn't like that in the terms of it. I mean, I think I tried if I wanted to scale on that side. I think I would try because I think it does work, right? I mean, obviously it works.
Yeah, and then we have Thumbtack just always running in the background. You know, I think we have like a $100 a week limit or something like that. So they just send us leads through there, and those are hit and miss, you know, but they're enough to justify the cost.
So what's Thumbtack?
Thumbtack is like all the others. It's like a home advisor, kind of like a home advisor, or Angie's Leads now.
Yeah, gotcha.
They're less expensive. And they're typically like real people, like as opposed to Angie's Leads. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're hit and miss. You get shoppers in there, but we get enough projects out of it to justify paying it, you know, and keeping it running.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all that said, would you suggest to companies to put some money aside and go that route, or is it really more? I mean, I think everyone's trying to scale a little bit. I think when you start out on your own, you usually start out by yourself or maybe one guy, and everyone wants to grow a little bit. But for some of them that are still new, like, would you suggest it?
So it depends. Like, we're going to open up other locations, and when we do, we're just going to pay for it, right? Like, we're just going to spend $5,000 a month for marketing, and we're going to buy leads, you know, because like it's fast and it's quick and it works. Your closing process probably has a lot to do with how valuable those leads really are. You know, like it's all numbers. Like if you take 10 leads and it costs you $1,000, but you can get $10,000 of jobs out of 2 of those leads, like then it's, you know, there's a break-even point where it's worth it and then where it's not.
Yeah, because I see some people are saying that sometimes when they get the leads, it feels like they have to work for really cheap, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was one thing I found with those types of like programs and way of marketing. Same thing with the guys that email you that are like, hey man, I'll do quoting for you. You want me to do the estimating for you? I can do all the estimating for you and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm trying to hit like a certain demographic. So like, I don't know if you can hit that. So sometimes I feel like it's like, I guess you just have to gauge it. Like you said, what's value to you, and then which guys you can put there to sort of turn a profit off whatever's coming, right? It's always the data, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's like certain size jobs that we really can't make any money on. You know, it's like small projects.
Ooh, this is a great question then. So, okay. Oh, this is a good question, I think. Because I'm curious, do you think that those jobs are still, I know they're not making you a profit, but they're not worthless either, are they?
Not worthless, no, because it's like there's referrals that come out of that. There's an email that you can market to. Like there's a lot of value in it, actually, right? Besides just the dollar amount.
Because I'm opposite. Like sometimes I'm like, and my brother, he was the one that was like, dude, why are you just like brushing all this work off? I'm like, well, I don't want it. You know, I don't want this. I don't want that. He's like, well, find someone who might do it, or maybe there's a way you can do it, or give it to me, or this, that. And I'm still like, I don't really want it, you know?
Yeah. Well, so for me, it's like, you know, if we have somebody that just wants a garage door done, you know, $350, let's say. If my guy gets it done in the right amount of time, like 3 or 4 hours, then I'll make $200 on the deal, you know, and that's fine. That's good enough profit. It's not great. Like it's not the best profit that I can make with that same guy, because it has to be a lead guy. It can't be a lower level guy, you know.
And quickly, is it $200 after you've paid for everything?
Yeah. So let's say if it's $350, I don't know, maybe my labor expense is like $125, you know, with taxes, payroll, workers' comp. Let's say it's like $40 for a gallon of paint, you know. So if I'm all in for like, I don't know, $280, you know, then I'm making $170, right? I make $170, free and clear. Everything's paid for.
Yeah, but if you have a guy that isn't really messing with your bigger bread and butter, who's pumping out
Right.
10 doors a freaking every 2 weeks, that's still pretty good freaking money.
Right. Yeah. It's not. So like, that's the thing is if I could have a lower level guy do that, then great. But I can't, because it's like that person has to meet with the client. They have to make small talk. They have to get the job done in the 4 hours, which should be plenty of time for a job like that, but they still need to do it. Put it out the right way and then have no problems, right? But if we have to go back for that job because they missed a spot and didn't notice it, now I make $70 and I lost 2 days of production, right? If, heaven forbid, we had to go back another time, now I'm out of pocket $30, right? Like it still has to be somebody that knows what they're doing, that can do it right. No callbacks, no issues with the client, like in and out, clean work.
Yeah, but I think when you have 20 to 25 guys, that can still work really well. Like for me or any of my guys, there's only 5 of us. To have one guy leave, it kind of is detrimental to what's going on over here, right? But you could have just like a door guy and shit, man, you're making, solids.
Right. But so that same guy who could do that garage door could manage 3 people and get them all to be really productive on one job site. And then they're making like $300 for each of those people per day, right? That's what they're producing in a day instead of $170. Right. So the one lead guy can bring 3 lower level guys up to a higher earning level. Mm-hmm. So instead of, my $17 an hour guy earning $100 a day on his own, towards company profit, a $30 an hour guy can help him now produce $200 a day. So having a lead guy on site with more people on these higher volume projects will bring everybody up a level, and everybody's producing higher now because that one lead is there.
Oh yeah, because there's working, and then there's like working, like let's get this shit done. You know what I mean? I feel you.
So, but I built everything off of those small jobs. My whole referral base, everything in the beginning was small jobs. It was, and my sales pitch to them was always like, those bigger companies won't even touch something like this, right?
Well, yeah, that's a great sales pitch, but it's true.
Yeah, and I'm on the other side now, and it's like, clients, like, it's a gold mine. Like doing this small job's a gold mine. It's like $200 or $300 a day, every single day of the week, no problem. It's just people want big jobs. They want a $5,000 job instead of $500 jobs where they make the same.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. I'm not the guy. Like I've done it. I just didn't like it. I
love to do like 2 bedrooms in a day, make like $300 profit and then go surfing. Have a half hour day, like take the next day off, go paint a couple gates, make $200.
So, but you could still do that and not have to have 10, 20 guys, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
like it just be a small job company, right? And have like 5 people, right? Like handyman companies do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Handyman, and it's $85 an hour or a visit or whatever. We could just be the small job specialist, right?
So what kind of not capped you? Because I know I'm sure you could do whatever the hell you wanted. You're smart enough. Why 2025? Is there a reason? Is it money? Is it something in there? Is it your margins? Like what's kept you nice at a nice balance? Like why do you like it where you are right now?
So we went up to like 35 to 40 a couple of years ago. And it was crazy. It was like madness. We had like so much money coming in every week, like deposit checks, every week. Cause we were doing, we did like 3 million in sales that year. Wow. And we lost $80,000 that year. Like at the end of the year, like need to borrow $80,000 to cover our losses. Legit lost $80,000.
See, that's good information to know. And I'm glad that you said that, because I think some people get it real fucking twisted sometimes. When they hear someone say, man, I did like 3 million in sales this year. It's like, yes, okay. But that doesn't mean, that's not like the whole statement, right?
That was my worst year in business.
There, see?
Worst year in business.
Wow. Wow. That sucks, man.
The next year we did half of the sales, 1.5 million, and one of the best years in business.
See, this is my point. This is what I mean, right? Like, you don't really need, well, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Was it execution?
It was project management.
Yeah.
Managing people. Like it was like warm bodies at that time, right? Like we still had some of our good guys around, but we were hiring, like kind of as quick as we could. We had a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
But we're doing, I don't know, it's probably like $60,000, $80,000 a week in business.
God diggity damn.
And just trying to keep it turning over, and it was like payroll is like 25 grand a week. Like it's crazy numbers. And, there was 40 or $50,000 in the bank account all the time because we're getting deposits. It's like we're selling a ton of work. And so, sell a job, collect a deposit on it. There's our cash flow.
Yep.
It was a steamroller. Like, it was like, how are we going to get out of this? Like we can't stop it because we need to keep cash coming in. It was stressful.
That sounds stressful. Because like I said, I started to teeter on that 1 year, and I just felt like I was running around chasing it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to go back to like one big house, couple guys, so I could more just, I guess control it, but it didn't feel like I was really, I knew I was making more, but it didn't feel better. You know what I mean? It still felt like, oh fuck, like I'm just going to, like you said, I'm just going to be doing this for
So we were losing money on half of our jobs and making money on
half. So you're like kind of just,
and it was like, okay, so I could do, manage 20 less people and make the same amount of money, make more money. Right. So these last 3 years, I guess, have been, I think our lowest year was like 1.5 million. And then we went to like 1.8. This last year is like 2 million. And we're just like at a sweet spot right now, like in the 20 people range. Well, so after we had the big sales, the following year, like basically got rid of everybody.
Right.
It was like, I had 2 people in the office. I had, what else? And then I had subcontractors, extra painters, like everything. So the next year we basically just cut everything off, and so the last 3 years we've had nobody in the office. I have my wife does some of like our QuickBooks entries and stuff like that. She's good at accounting. But I do all the payroll stuff. I do all the scheduling, the printing checks, all that stuff. And so in this range, like 2 million in sales is probably our cap without bringing more people on, more management people.
Yeah.
So it's like right now, we made really good profit last year and the year before and the year before that. So do we stay here? Like I've been for these last, a year or two, I've been on the path of, we're going to grow it to like a $20 million company. And I've been working on systems and processes and like getting everything really dialed in so I could really scale. Like before it seemed like it would, but there's too many holes and not enough management people. And so, I've had ads out for the last few months for project managers, admin people, and I was really close to hiring this guy for a project management role. But he got like 2 offers from other companies and someone's offer was better than mine. Yeah. So now I'm like rethinking it. Like everything's so comfortable right now. I'm like,
I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a good thing, or I've never been there to 20. It was half, and that was enough for me. It was so much. Are you having trouble finding people where you are? I mean, I think some people in the city would say no, but I think it's fucking terrible. Like there's nobody like that's at least worth it, And I don't want to, cause I'm sort of like you. I do like everything, right? I'm like the guy that does it all. So I don't want another full-time job fucking hiring people, like sitting in a Starbucks for an afternoon sifting through like 80 people, right?
Yep. It kind of needs to be that. Well, like for a 20-person company, right? Like hiring and training needs to be like a pretty not a full-time job, but a lot of hours to do it well. You know, I don't train my guys well enough right now. The point of bringing on a project manager would be just so I could do more training, like more field training. I know how to paint really well. I know how to like troubleshoot really well. I know basic principles really well, but I don't spend enough time teaching all my guys that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that when you were saying that before with your lead guy who kind of teaches the other guys. Do you have a couple guys that can really do that?
Yeah. So my number one right now, he's been with me for like 12 years.
Nice.
Like before my kid was born, you know, he's been with me longer than that. And yeah, he has his own company, you know, he does like side jobs and stuff like that. And he's, you know, he left like, well, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he left for a year and then came back. And, you know, he's an ambitious guy. But he's also like, it's just baked into him to do high quality. Like he can't, you know, and he knows exactly what's important to me because he worked when I was on site, he worked with me side by side for like 4 or 5 years, you know, before we started bringing in more people. And so he does a great job. Like he's taught, I don't know, 4 or 5 people over the years to do cabinet finish work.
Nice.
Some have left, you know, taken those skills and gone somewhere else. But you know, he can take somebody from brand new to painting to doing nice finish work, being able to do touch up on lacquer work, you know, like teach them some real skills.
Yeah, I have one guy like that. And I think now that you mention it and the more I think about it, I think that's kind of what pushed me away from the scaling, at least on the referral repaint end, is some of my guys at the time, they hated it. They didn't. And if they did it, if I was like, come on, man, like this is still going to be good money for all of us, let's just do it. I really had to emphasize like, yo, you have to like step it down a few notches. Like this isn't, you know, and they struggle doing that. And I respect that because I'm like, yeah, like do a good job. You know what I mean? But when it comes to business, they don't understand. It's like, yo, we kind of need to hurry the fuck up here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there are different projects. So that's something we do like in our estimating process, in our sales process, is figure out what kind of project this is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
I'll be very upfront with them, you know, and I think the honesty, most people respect it. But it's like, what kind of job do you want? You know, like how high a quality are you looking for? You know, say, well, I want it to be really nice, you know, and then I'll start pointing out things in their walls, right? Like, does this bother you? Does that bother you? Did you ever notice it before? Like, do you want those things gone? Because then we're talking a lot of money, really big budget, you know, it's doable, but you know, your walls have been painted 30 times or whatever. Like, how much do you want to spend? You know, realistically, like,
hey, I'm like you. I get like straight like psychologist as soon as I walk in. I don't even give a shit about your paint job. I'm like looking at you. I'm like, what kind of person are you? Like, let's see, let's play this out here.
Yeah. Yeah. And same thing, like with what kind of person are you, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you the person this will bother you every day when you look at it, you know? Because if you are, let's just fix it. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, and that's why I always ask the question of like, how do you gauge what's going overboard? Like, how do you, because it's tough, right? Because everyone wants to do a good job, but then it's like, well, what's too good? And then some people take it into their own hands. They're like, no, it's got to be like this. It's like, yo, that person's not even going to notice. Even if you show them, they're still kind of looking through it. They're just like, oh, okay. And they probably don't really understand. So yeah.
Or some people don't care. Like for me, I only care about, I appreciate high detail, right? I don't need it, but I appreciate it. You know, if somebody's going to come and like, I don't know, like my tile in my kitchen, it's like not perfectly straight and it's subway tile everywhere, right? And it's not perfectly straight, but it doesn't really bother me, you know? Like I can appreciate when I see tile work and it's done really, like I recognize good tile work. And when all the seams match up and when everything's like matchbook finish, you know, like the spaces on the left side are the same as the right side, and top and the bottom. Like, I could appreciate that. I'll check out. I'm curious,
Yeah. Sorry, quick sidebar on that. You know what's really bad being like in construction and knowing this kind of shit, even as a painter? My wife now, I have to be like, yo, chill out. She'd be like, no. Like, can you see that? I'm like, you wouldn't have been able to see that before if I had to show. What are you talking about? Just chill.
Yeah, but like, so for me personally, it doesn't bother me. Like, I don't need perfect. There's some things that I want to be done really well.
Yeah.
Things I don't care at all, but I notice it all, and I can appreciate the really high detail to work, but you got to know like when that's required, when there's a budget for it, when there's not,
Definitely.
Like so the work that I had done here in this kitchen was like a friend of the family and older guy. And I knew his work wasn't going to be perfect to begin with, but I knew his prices were going to be really reasonable.
It's funny because someone just said that. I bet you paid top dollar, you'd want it done right. Well, I guess.
If I wanted it done right, I would pay top dollar.
Yes.
Right? That's like, if it were that important to me, I would find somebody, I would do research, I would go through. I don't want to spend my time on that. Like, it's not that important to me. I wanted up quickly, and a quick turnaround to get this thing up and running so I can use it. If we wanted to redo it later, fine,
which is what most customers are kind of thinking is kind of the point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
they're just like,
you got to know, like, if you want to come at me and if he told me it's going to be like 10 grand to do this tile, but it's going to be perfect. Let's say not for me.
Yeah.
I would rather do it for 2,500 and have it be a little wavy,
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. That, but that's tough. Yeah, that's tough. Now that we're talking about that, are you a contract guy? Do you do a lot of contracts with your clients?
You mean like
a contract?
Yeah, we do. So going through doing like high volume work, so like our big sales years, people would ask my guys for free stuff all the time. Like, can you just put a coat on that bathroom? Just use the same paint, right? You don't need to buy any more paint for it. Just use that same paint. Just put a coat on the bathroom, right? And then sometimes they would say, oh, well, I talked to the estimator about it when he was here. It was supposed to be included, right? And so my guys would do it, right? My guys are trying to make a client happy, you know? And so they just do it. And so we would lose a boatload of money in that stuff,
In volume, for sure, you would. Definitely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like the amount of clients we're seeing in a month, maybe it only happens like 1 out of 20 people, but we hit that number like 3 times in a month, and so like the lost labor or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do a signed agreement on everything. We do signed off on colors. We do all that stuff.
Yeah, we're big on that too in the custom home stuff. It's like, sign this shit. You picked it. You picked it.
Yeah. 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 And like, the signed agreement. So I don't like having to do that. I'd prefer not to. I'd prefer a handshake or a verbal agreement. That's how I did business most of my career. But there's too many people that will take advantage now. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of people that'll do that.
Yeah, that's too bad, man. That's also another reason, like, maybe I have a trust daddy issue, but I can't trust a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, I probably don't trust people very much. It's not like I think they're going to do me wrong. I just have like fairly low expectations, and so it's not a big deal if they do me wrong, to me.
Yeah.
But I like fair. I really don't like when people are not fair, that really bothers me. And so with clients, if people want to get something for free or, there's any kind of an issue and it's like, well, I want 10% off the project, right? Because you painted a door the wrong color or whatever. It's like, that's not fair. Like I'll give you $100 off or whatever, like whatever it is, right? I'll be reasonable with you, but you have to be fair. I'm always
the type of guy that's like, no, I'll just fix it.
Right.
Like,
Oh
why?
yeah.
Like,
Well, it's the thing where you fix it and they want a discount, right? It's
why?
like,
That drives me crazy.
or work.
Well, you're a consumer. I don't know about you, but maybe I'm just a nice guy. But if someone fucked up and I paid them to do something, it's like you have a chance to put it back to to do what you were supposed to do. But I'm not going to be like, man, you fucked up. You're dumb. Deal.
I know. There's a lot of people that'll do stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now in your company or in your role? Are there any challenges you're facing that you're like, man, I need to maybe try something new or let something go?
For me, it's really just training more.
Yeah.
Like make dumb mistakes on some jobs, or like project planning. It's like I do really well at mapping out a project, what should be done every day. Like I can map it down to more or less, right? And as long as we're here by 4:30, we're on track, But I should be training more of my people to do that too. It's not rocket science. It's different. Not a lot of people do it that way, but I'm not super intelligent because I can do that. I just pay attention, I've paid attention to how long stuff takes me for 20 years, more or less, right?
Absolutely.
I know how in a door. I can picture in my mind, if I close my eyes, how long it's going to take me to do every part of this project, right? Like I was talking to my guy today about painting doors. This is one of the guys I have to keep an eye on, and I asked him like, okay, so you have to do one more coat on the doors. How much longer is that going to take you? Oh, I have no idea. I'm like, come on, man. You've been painting for a long time. You can't have no idea. I don't know. I was like, well, how long did the first coat take you? Watching I didn't clock, right? I'm like, all right, dude, let's like break this down, right? Did you start them after lunch or before lunch? After lunch. Okay. So let's say 12 o'clock, right? Did you do anything else before you started the doors? Yes, I did clean up work upstairs. Okay. How long? About half an hour? Okay. So let's say the first coat took you about 2.5 hours, give or take, right? Second coat should take you that or less, come on, man.
Yeah, it's usually less, but you're right.
Less.
Like that would drive me freaking bananas.
Yeah.
Not even that they didn't know. It's more just like you really are like out to lunch right now.
You're not even trying.
Not even trying. But that's what drives me crazy sometimes is that, like I said about do you allow headphones on your job sites for your guys?
They can do one.
They can do one?
Yeah.
My guys can do it too, but sometimes I don't do it. Like I don't even listen to freaking music in the car. My brother's like, dude, you're freaking crazy. Like but sometimes it's like, they're like, and I'm like, yo, like, just sand. Okay. Like you're not even here. Oh, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but yeah. Actually, someone did have one question. I know I told you I wasn't really going to look at these, but someone did actually fire a question in, and it was from Spray's Life, and it says, what's your gross margin G&A percentage? If you want to share.
What's G&A?
Don't know. It just popped up in the thing.
Our so we stick to like these industry standards. That's what we aim for. 15% on materials, our labor around 45%. So like 40% will be our gross profit, right? That's what we're aiming for. Our net ends up like last year. So we do our numbers every year. And I think we're at, it's either 14 or 16% for last year. 16, the year before was 14. So we had 16% net profit for last year, but net is kind of funky. Like as you make more money, you want to show less net, because then you're less liable for taxes. So it's better to spend some of that money on equipment and materials. But on paper, those are my numbers.
Yeah, I think that if there's anyone in here that's just starting out, that's new into the game, I think that people should know that there's a lot more to just bringing in $1 million a year, because people see that and they're like, woo. But I think we all know that that's not actually what you're fucking putting in your pocket. People need to remember that. That is not the it's not how it is, right?
Yeah. So I made great living at right around $700,000 in revenue. That was where it was like, all right, we're getting somewhere here, right?
Yeah.
Like let's grow this thing, right? Like I could do more of this, like this, and let's keep this train going. But then like from 1 million to like, I don't know, 1.5, 1.6 million the first time through was rough, because then it's like starting to have some losses on jobs where we didn't before at all. We'd never have, every now and then, right? But it was pretty rare that we'd have a loser. But once we got it like over $1 million, we had enough employees to where shit could go sideways, like I didn't pay that much attention to it. And then different problems came up where it's like, I don't know, now I'm ordering materials online, I'm sending email orders and I don't double check them. And maybe sometimes my guys don't double check them. So now we're painting colors, like we're making all these stupid mistakes that shouldn't happen, but like the growing pains,
Yeah. And that's just going to come down to the system, how well it's run. And there's only so much you can do, right? There's really only so much you can do. And there's going to be a little bit of losses in that for sure. My OCD just gets crazy. Just like, what the hell? Like, really? Where did we lose?
So you can't grow that way, right? Like it's very, very, very difficult. I won't say that you can't, but like for me, when we started growing, it was like, okay, like you have to let go of certain things, right? Like it can't be perfect all the time. The job can't be the highest quality all the time. You can't throw stuff in all the time. Like all these things add up to really big amounts of money when it's $1 million, $2 million. Like, like I said, if you had half of your crews are giving away, a little job every other week, it's like, well, that's $40,000 at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of money. And that 40,000 is my money. That's my profit.
For sure.
Comes from my pocket.
Oh, that's exactly where it's coming from though, man. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So a little personal question on that note then.
Yeah.
Do you do anything after with your money? You seem like the type of guy that's not using his business as a piggy bank. Cause this is what I tell a lot of guys when they say, hey man, what's best advice for the first couple of years being in business? And I'm like, save your money. And I'm like, not just the money in your company. I'm talking about the money that you sort of pay yourself. Like make sure you save some of this shit because people think it's like, oh, I got a business now. Piggy bank.
Yeah.
Right.
I was talking to Alpha Painting earlier today about this. I only started saving money like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Like when I started out earning what I was spending, right? Because I didn't slow down spending. I finally started out earning it, right?
Which is kind of dangerous, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to get there. And like I'd created so much stress for myself by not having a good savings, right? Like going through this period where we had really high volume sales, it's like not knowing if you're going to be able to make payroll, and payroll's $25,000. Like that's, and that's like all year long. That was a stressful year.
Yeah. So when you say saving, so did you start saving in the company as well as personally?
Both. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you ever have to use your personal money to help the company?
Not anymore, but I used to be back and forth always. Like my money was the company money.
Yeah.
My money, right? That's how it was the majority for 15 years. It's really only like the last 5, 6, 7 years that things have been really stable. Like even during that period, we had really high sales and then haywire everywhere, but it was like covering my bills wasn't difficult to do. It was just, there's no profit, like I'm spending money that's coming in, and at the end of the year, like, shit, what now? Right. But then the year after that and the year after that, so like the last 3 years have been really good, and so we met with a financial planner, like we were putting money into that. We have a good life insurance policy, like all that stuff is set up, so now at this point, like if anything happened, my family's totally covered, they don't need the business. I'm working on like a in case I die plan for the company. But my family doesn't need the business, right? It's just, we put a lot into it over the years. So I'd probably like give it away to my guys, kind of.
Yeah. You wouldn't want them to have the business with somebody potentially running it for them?
I would.
Would that even work?
I would make my wife a minority partner.
Yeah.
And then have probably my salesperson be a partner, and then probably like one or two of my lead guys be partners.
Yeah.
And if they all just wanted to do nothing with it and let it dissolve, fine. If they all wanted to try running it and run it into the ground, fine. My wife will get paid for a little while off of it. So it doesn't matter to me at that point. I'll be gone.
That's what my dad used to always say. I don't care what you do. I'll be dead.
Yeah. So, and over like the last year, I've been just like dicking around with cryptocurrency and
okay
stuff. So
nice. So you jumped in the market a bit?
Yeah, just like during the whole pandemic, it was like, I don't remember when all this stuff started, but it's like stocks were going haywire, cryptocurrency started going haywire. So I just was playing around in it, and like not a lot, but by the time I cashed out when we bought the place in Big Bear, just temporarily. But, I'd turned like $5,000 into $10,000, just goofing around in there, and the stocks and everything I still have, but it's fun to play around in it. I don't know how, like, I wouldn't put my life savings in there,
No, you could put half of it, maybe. Swing trade that shit.
Over the last, like, I don't know, month or two, it's been pretty ugly.
Yeah, right now, right now is a good time to buy.
I know.
It's a good time to definitely buy. I didn't get into any crypto. My brother's really been hassling me. I'm kicking myself in the ass for not getting in Ethereum when I was at like $400 because I was like finger on the fucking button and I was like, I don't know. And he's like, do it. And I never did it. And now I'm like, oh shit. But I just stuck with the growth stocks, just like Tesla and Amazon, shit like that.
Yeah.
But
cryptocurrency is fun. Like that's all it is for me. It's like gambling, a little bit safer than gambling, but it's fun to do. It's fun. Like, I had, I don't remember what it was that I bought. It was something that I bought. I bought like $100 of it, just like testing things,
But you probably got like 50 million shares for $100.
Yeah. But it went up. So the next day it was up to like 1,700. I was like, what the heck? So I like tried selling it, wouldn't let me sell. Then the next day it was like back down to 600. So I still made plenty of money on it, but stuff like that happens, right?
That's been the biggest, actually, one of the biggest complaints about people that are investing in it because some of the systems aren't good enough yet. Like there's that time and that delay. Like if you're like day trading, you need that in live now. What's it at now? Like not what's it at tomorrow or 2 hours from now. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun to, I don't know. You can almost win the lottery in there, right?
That's what my brother thinks. He's holding close to 100 million plus in coins and of all like 3 or 4. And he's like, dude, telling you. And it's so funny because he's like, if it goes up, or what does he say? If they shave off another 2 zeros, we're in the money, man. I'm like 0.00000001. I'm like, dude, how do you even do the fucking math on that?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like, I can't think of the name of this, but XRP, my estimator's like, you got to buy some of this. He's like, it's going to go, if it, people think it's going to go to $1,000, right? And it's like, if it goes to 1,000, you put 100 in, that's whatever, $500,000, It's like, all right. Like, yeah.
But
great.
That's also the shit people hang themselves over too, right? Because they're like, fuck.
But then they could say, well, Bitcoin used to be $8 a coin.
Don't even get me started on that either, man.
Not that long ago, right? It's not that long ago.
Dude, missed out on that too. This dude I was buddies with was mining it in his bedroom when I was like, you're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? He's like, buy this shit, man. Buy it. It was like dollars. And I was like, nah. Like, and then when it all kind of blew up again, I even still had my Coinbase account. And I was like, fuck, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's hard. Like, cause like, what do you, like, sometimes it just seems like a trend, right?
I think like most of the cryptocurrency is 100% a trend. It's like just whatever's trending. Elon Musk says something about it, goes up, you know, sell it at the top. Like all trend, you know, even all the Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, they're all like at half value right now from what they were like a month ago. But it's like they were probably that high because it was so trendy. You know, now they're going to like level out to what the real value is now.
Yeah.
It'll start going up again, I'm sure, but
you can do a lot. You can make a lot of money off something that's that volatile because you can really. It's kind of easier to see.
Yeah, it's all speculation. That's like the guys they're doing, and they know what to look for. Like they're make big bucks off of cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Well, that worked for me for Amazon because it would literally like go up like $70, then it's like 2 days later it would drop like $50, and then it would go up like another. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I can. Yeah, I'm just gonna buy it at the lows.
Yeah, but like Amazon, Apple, Tesla, like these companies are just going up forever.
Yeah, there's just growth. I didn't want to have to look at it every day.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just like, all right, I should be okay here. And sometimes people message me like, did you see Tesla today? I was like, no, I didn't. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. My first real investment was, I had a friend who was like big tech guy. And when Square went public, the card reader, I bought into that when they went public. And it was like it was either $9 or $11 a share, or something like that. And it went up to like $180 a share.
Oh, damn.
So that was like my first taste. But that was like here, you know, it was like, I was there for 4 years. I don't even know if I could like log into that account, that investment. But the friend would send me texts like, hey, did you see where Square's at right now? You know, it's like, whoa, all right.
You're like, sweet, definitely.
Yeah. But so I do like automatic transfers into like Tesla, Apple. You know, I just have like weekly transfers I can pull up.
Like a daily cost averaging type of thing. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So. All right. Well, yeah, good old crypto. If you want to invest in it, go hard. But I had a couple other questions for you. I wanted to pick your brain about what do you think about undercutting and like underbidding? Do you think there's really such a thing? And do you think if we all raised our prices, like I see so much online, that would fix that?
I think undercutting and everything happens in all industries, not just ours. I mean, it's like everywhere. Like, you know, my daughter is 11 and she buys these clothes from this website called Shein.
Oh, Shein. Yes. The seven week wait.
And yeah, it's like $3 for a shirt, right? It's in every industry. I think ours is just so prominent because it's like, it feels like a direct theft, right? Like they're taking that job directly from me by charging half price to do it, you know?
Well, do you feel that way? I've never felt that way.
I don't personally.
Yeah, I don't.
For me, but I did when I was starting out, right? It's like, how I can't get these jobs, right? Somebody's bidding $1,000 less than me.
Yeah.
But now it's like through our sales process, like our online reputation, all that stuff. I just want people to like question whether they're making a mistake going with this company that's $1,000 less than us, right? Like I want them to think, oh, this company's $1,000 less, but that other company seemed really good and really professional, and they've been in business for a long time. Like, you know, I think that I don't know if it's everywhere, but I think around here, people value professionalism, um, longevity, timeliness, like that kind of stuff. People will pay more for that here. I don't know if that's everywhere. You know, it might not be. It probably isn't. But like here, if I give somebody a price of $10,000 and then somebody gave them a price of 6,000, they would throw the 6,000 price out like 8 out of 10 times. You know, it'd be like, there's no way that 6,000 gets me that. You know, like there's no way. Right?
Do you think that's based off demographic, or because there's a lot more wealthier people in that area, so they understand the value of money better?
Probably both, right? Like it's, you know, higher income, higher earners. But if I were 10,000 and the other person was 8,000, then they would say, okay, why are we going to pay 2,000 more? Right? Like, yes, we like that company better, but can we just, is it worth $2,000? You know, like maybe not. Right. But then that comes into play where maybe the guy at 8,000 was like late to the appointment and hand wrote an estimate and didn't return phone calls. You know, then it would give a client some kind of peek into what it's like to do business with that company.
Yeah.
You know, now 8,000 is a lot of money. Do we want to give this guy $8,000? Like, what if it goes really wrong? You know, this other company for 10,000, I have some guarantees,
yeah.
I have some track record, I have some history. Like, you know, that might be worth it to go there. I think it's just a more educated buyer. But I'm sure there are some parts of the country where the dollar amount is really important, you know, like the most important thing, really. Here, I don't think it's like that. But like, so I talked about opening up other locations. We're not going to go inland. So the way that everything is set up here, like San Diego is at the bottom, and then Orange County, and then LA County, right? And we're all along the coast. You know,
and Orange County's got a ton of money, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. We have Newport Beach, Laguna Beach.
Yeah, huge, yeah.
It'll be like, yeah, it's a good high income earners. All along the coast, really. Like San Diego's La Jolla, LA is like Beverly Hills, Venice, like all, you know. So, but if you go inland, you know, away from the ocean here, like an hour, 45 minutes, you start getting into areas where it's less and less affluent, right? And so I don't think my business model would work there.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't try to, because we're selling like high quality. We're selling long term. We're selling, we'll answer the phone in 2 years if you have a problem with our work. You know, we're selling like, we answer our phone all the time. We have communication throughout the project, like, you know, keep your colors on file in 5 years if you need them again. Like, you know, we're a long-term company and you're paying for it, but we're going to deliver too. You know, that's what, I don't think it would be as valuable there, you know, like in lower income places.
No, actually, I found that when I first started coming out, I was losing a ton of jobs because I was starting to go for the repaint, refinish area, but showing a portfolio that are people like, yeah, we don't need that. And it's like, whoa, right? So then it started to change, right? And then, but then it's like, okay, so then it becomes like like we were doing at one point, like price packaging, like gold, silver, bronze. But then it got to the point where I was like, I don't even want this if it's not over this much. This is such a headache, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't think it works everywhere. And I think that in some places, price shopping is like a huge issue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So the last question on that, do you think if we all raised our prices that it would fix that a little bit, or do you think that there's always going to be the need for that cheaper guy or girl because people don't always want a quality job?
I think that quality or no quality or low quality is like job by job basis, right? Like so for like us, we'll never do anything that's not durable, right?
Yeah.
Like what we're doing durable. So when I talk to a client, like if their fascia boards are peeling or their siding is peeling, I'll ask them how much time they want to spend on it, right? Like to get rid of all this cratering and everything, like we should strip it, you know, back to wood and build a new coating out. but how much money do you want to spend on it? Like, no matter what, we're going to make it durable. It's like word for word while I talk, make it durable. But we're going to make it durable. It's not going to peel, but you're still going to see all those craters. Like, it's not going to look that nice.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? And like, we'll go through that conversation. But then you get apartments that are like blow and go. They want the cheapest price possible. They just need a new coat of paint on it, like just so they can get a new tenant in there,
So I think that comes down to business model though. It's like, because for me, it's just with the model and what I'm doing, if I can't do a great job, I don't know if I want it. But then again, I feel bad if someone's paying me more than what I've asked, even to leave it that way. Cause that's what it comes down to. It's like, all right, yeah, I guess I'll do it because they're going to pay me this much to do it. Right. But then I'm always like, well, it kind of goes against like my whole, morale of this, so.
But that's something, like I think, what you stand for still goes into it, and if the budget is there to do a little better than what they're looking for, then do the extra work, you know,
for sure.
Cause you have to sleep at night,
Yeah. It's tough, man. I mean, I think if there's somebody else that's going to do it and be okay with that and make the money, excuse me, and that's going to pay their bills and feed their family, then they can have it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll have like, sort of through Yelp or Thumbtack or random phone calls or whatever, how I'll get leads that come in and they might be asking for something, like they want their kitchen cabinets brush and roll finish, or they want a cheap paint job on their kitchen cabinets. And I'll tell them like, we do spray finishes. Like we're going to be 3,500, 4,000 minimum. Like if you're looking for something inexpensive, you can get someone to do a brush and rolled finish. Like under $2,000, like I'm not the right company.
Yeah. I do that a lot too. I'm more just like, you can go like there's this company or that company that they'd probably do it,
Job that I wouldn't even take, right? Even if they said, okay, you could brush and roll them for $2,000. It's like, that's a lot of work, Like,
how about $3,000, John?
Right. Yeah. I'd rather not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one. But there's just too much. I'm looking at another question. It made me think. I think there's just too many people with too many different ranges. I think I've seen someone say here before that there should sort of be like a standard, but I think that changes like wherever you go, especially demographic wise. Do you think price sharing is bad? Like if someone messages you on Instagram and say, hey man, what do you charge for this, this, and this? Do you tell them?
I get that all the time. Yeah.
Do you tell them?
Yeah. I don't mind sharing that. I don't mind.
Would you share with them if they were in your neighborhood, in your area?
Yes, mostly. I wouldn't give them my system to use against me, but I wouldn't mind talking about pricing. And I might not be exact, but like if they're like, how much you charge for painting walls? Let's say around $1 a square foot.
Yeah.
Price is $1.18 a square foot, but I would say around $1, right?
Yeah.
If they were my direct competitors, but I've had lunch with my direct competitors, like just guys that I know that are in my same kind of employee range, in the same area, been in business for a long time. I figure they've got to be in a similar sales range. And we've had lunch, and kind of just talk shop and, talk about what kind of problems each other have and neighborhoods and stuff like that. I mean, it's like Instagram, right? It's like kind of fun talking with people about a business that you're no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I've been changing. I've been telling some people, but I've actually just been telling people the way I learned when I first came up. And I was just like, honestly, I can't tell you what to charge. I can tell you what I charge, but I don't think that's actually going to mean anything to you if you don't understand it all, right? Like you say $1.18. And some people are probably thinking, well, why not $1.20? Why not $1.25? Why not $1.17? Well, this is what I usually tell people. Well, that number, you got to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to be like, oh, okay, I made this. It took us this long. It cost this much. Do all that math backwards, and then you can see, oh,
Yes. So like for our production rates, we have square footage, linear footage per piece. The whole reason we set it up is so that I could have a salesperson that's not a painter, doesn't have painting experience,
yeah,
go in and just is good at sales, good at building rapport. He can go in and take measurements and plug it into my system, and it spits out a price.
right,
You know, accurate because I measured it 500 times.
yeah,
You know, painting wall space. How long does it take us to paint this 400 square feet of wall space? How long does it take us to paint this 200 square feet, this 1,000 square feet, this 600 square feet? And it all averages out to $1.18 a square foot, right? That'll cover my materials, that'll cover my labor, give me my profit, you know? And that's the same with everything, with fascia boards, with baseboards, with doors, with window casings, everything. I have an average, and the average works. And it's like, you know, people, you know, I see on Facebook all the time, like you can't do square foot pricing, you know, because it's not, no two rooms are the same, right? Which is true, but it averages out to $1.18 a square foot. If you do it 10,000 times, 200 times, it's an average.
that's what I tell people too, because like, no, it's board feet. I'm like, you know what? Call it whatever fucking feet you want. If you do the data and you have your costs and you have everything, do the math backwards and find out your own goddamn square footage price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing pricing, because really you're going to know if it's working for you or not. There's nothing worse than trying to price something somewhere, not executing and being like, oh shit, I lost, or not charging enough.
Yeah. That's like, so I learned most of my pricing by losing money. You know,
You hear that?
I'm not going to make that mistake again.
No, hell no.
A whole bunch of times. But yeah, that was how I learned. And then I learned how to put together a chart to be able to measure everything. Let's get some water. So I could figure out averages,
Yeah.
you know, and then come up with some square foot pricing and linear foot pricing. And I don't know, like, so guys will do floor square foot pricing, you know, like if a house is 1,000 square feet, they use that floor space. For all of our pricing, it's surface area. So it's wall surface area, ceiling surface.
Oh, I see.
Not footprint. Because
Yeah.
I don't understand how people make footprint pricing work. I don't get that.
Well, just like how I said, really, it's just like by the time you do all the number, because like you said, you kind of roughly get an idea from being there, seeing other people, maybe getting information from others. Okay, it's roughly around this. And then I just started doing all the data, and it's like, actually, I want it to be this, right? So we do, like if I get a set of plans and there's an initial takeoff, you're getting your walls and ceilings based on square footage, and you're getting your trim, windows, doors, all that trim package based on square footage. Everything else is an extra in terms of like built-ins, railings, and the linear footage, some stuff square footage for like paneling, yada, yada, yada. And that's how I went from there. You know what I mean? But some people have said to me like, dude, like a square footage of a blueprint is not the same as like the board space, you know, the ground footage. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but I just, you know, I could probably figure it out just like you're saying, if you just do all the math backwards.
Yeah, it's still an average.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Even if you took a footprint, you know, the floor space, square footage, you could come up with some average number. If you did 100 of them, you know that $3.86 is on the high side, you know that $2.44 is on the low side, and you want to be somewhere in the middle. Like you could figure out an average, you know, that would make sense like 90% of the time. Yeah. And sometimes it would not work out so well, but 90% of the time it's accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. Know? Yeah.
And for us, the ability to be able to scale and have like 98% accuracy, that 2% I'll take because we could scale up, right? And if there's a 2%, then I'm just going to add a little bit to my wall pricing, you know? Yeah. And that's going to be 2% loss on random objects, you know?
Yeah, but it's keeping, I guess, the point in all this and the rule is just keep track of it all, right? I always tell people, track every freaking job down to like get all the data.
So we have like a pretty short feedback loop. You know, we do a price, we do a job, we price the job, figure out how it came in compared to our numbers. And if it came in, we made a lot of money, maybe we made too much money. It's like, all right, we don't need to make that much off of this project. Like, should we look at our numbers so we could be more competitive? Or if we didn't make enough money, then it's like, all right, where did we lose? You know, like those almost get like a red tag that they need to be reviewed further, you know? And then it becomes like, if we didn't make enough money on that, it's an exterior, let's say, and, you know, our profit was like 25%. It's like, all right, red tag, right? Like, let's take a look at that one. Why is it at 25% and not 40? And first thing would be like, for me to review the pricing, you know, does anything look off? It's like, oh, we have 8 shutters and it's $120. Like, all right, that's really low. You know, it shouldn't be there. Why? But then it'd be like job site, you know, like I've had a project where we priced exterior and all the eaves were peeling, right? And it's like, took a whole extra day for 2 guys just to scrape them all down, you know, but we didn't put that in the quote. We just put painting eaves like normal, right? And we didn't account for the peeling. So then that's an estimator error. Okay, how do we fix that? You know, then it's like, so it's short feedback loop. So if we have a that, we're not going to make it the following week, you know? Like, make a change on that. We're going to have a conversation with the estimator about how to make sure those notes are made, whatever.
So if that does happen, do you try and just line item add it in?
Yeah. So in that kind of scenario, so we have like a slow, medium, fast, you know, for eaves, let's say, for fascia boards. So if they're in bad shape, we're going to put a slow pace, right? Everything's going to slow down. Our linear foot pricing or our square foot pricing is going to go up. So yeah, we would have different ranges like that. And then I know, because I am the last one to look at these estimates before they get sent off. So my estimator goes to a house, takes measurements, takes pictures, goes home, types everything up, uploads the pictures, and then he sends me a text and an email. Hey, John, 3 estimates are ready to go, right? So I open up QuickBooks, check them out, check the photos. Like, most of the time, it's just a really standard estimate.
Yeah.
I'll just send it off, right? Not even look at photos or anything. But if it's like we're stripping a front door or a set of front doors, like, all right, that's not normal. Like, could be easy. It could be miserable, you know, like I'll check that out. If he puts in like slow on the eaves, like, okay, maybe I want to check that out. Why is it slow?
Yeah. So you're still kind of having to run through most of it, eh?
Yeah. And I could not look through any of it, but I would probably raise all my prices a little more.
Yes.
Right.
Good point. Yep.
Yeah. But
yeah. Well, you look like you're doing a fine job so far, John.
It's going all right.
Yeah.
We've had a lot along the way, but
yeah, it's that experience, man. In that time, like you said, I don't think a lot of people, even if they could get there, if they jumped into it too fast, I actually don't think they would really appreciate it that way. I realized that I had many opportunities to go out and probably snag some of my own builders, and I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad it kind of happened when it happened, because I don't really want to pay for all my mistakes. I like learning from people too, right? So
that's a big one. I mean, that, like, if you know, if I got to $1 million in revenue like in 3 years, I probably would have screwed everything up. You know, like, I just didn't know enough about what could go wrong. I didn't know enough about, like, so when we went to $3 million, like, we didn't have enough systems in place. I thought we did. I thought we were solid. You know, we're like, we do $2 million a year. No problem. I go to these paint conventions, you know, I've gone to like the PCA, the Painting for Profit Summit thing. Like, I'm a $3 million company, right? I'm a big deal, like, in the painting business, you know, like, at these conventions, I'm among the bigger painting contractors.
Right.
But it's like, I lost my ass at 3 million, you know, like, it's not like, that was, like I said, my worst year in business, you know.
Crazy.
But it looks great on paper.
Yeah.
Paper. Oh, that's so awesome. How did you do it? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it was a nightmare, you know.
That's
most of the companies at that range, a lot of them are dealing with those types of problems, you know, and they're dealing with that kind of stress of trying not to let everything burn down, you know, like, trying to figure out how to not have everything go sideways.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of moving parts at that. level.
There is a lot of moving parts, and I think like the main engine sometimes, like the painting and actually doing a good job, gets freaking lost in translation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that was one thing where, um, like, I don't ever want to do poor quality work.
Yeah.
You know, if we do things that are not as pretty as they could be, I'd rather not, but I'm okay with that. Like, I could let go of pretty on some stuff. But I don't want poor quality anywhere ever.
Well, that's hard though, John, because like, what what is quality?
For me, it's durability,
Okay.
right? For me, durability is quality. That's, to me, the definition. Like, when I tell somebody, no matter what, I'm doing a durable job. You know, like, you should have no failures on anything interior, besides like negligence.
Yeah.
And on exterior, like, 5-year stucco, 3-year wood, nothing should fail at that point, right? Like, if anything's starting to fail, let me know. We'll take care of it. After that point, you're going to get cracks and stuff like that. And then stuff goes downhill from there, right? But, yeah, I mean, I no matter what, because I stand behind it. It's like, if somebody calls me, and I get these calls, not a lot, but I get somebody that's like, oh, you painted my place 3 years ago, and we have a little bit of peeling on the siding, like, I'm not going to, I don't know if I've ever charged someone to do that. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't charge them. Like, right. If it's a whole side of a house and they got sprinklers hitting it all day. But I've had people where it was like clearly not an issue that was from us. And I've told them, like, look, I'll take care of it this time, no charge, but next time I'll have to bill you for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them why it's doing what it's doing. We had a house we did it maybe like a month or two ago, and they had cracks in the stucco. And it's like, we can't stop your stucco from cracking, right? Like, it's gonna happen. It's just, that's all the houses out here are like that. I was like, we'll take care of the cracks this time, no charge, but like, next time around, we'll just have to bill you for it. I just need to cover my cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear some people saying got to let go of the perfect, and I think it's just like quality, where it's on this never-ending gauge of like what's good, what's bad, and I think it's like I always just start with a very high standard and then go from there. And even if it's like a repaint or something, like I'm like you, of like my standard is high based on like, yo, this like if this was my house, I would want it to last. You know what I mean? So yeah, that stuff. But that leads me to segue to actually to my next question, because you said the PCA, you said these kinds of like these events you've gone to, and then how you're standing at the top sort of as one of the bigger companies. Do you think that Instagram, well, let's say, do you think social media is kind of damaging that, in the sense that people are thinking they need to make more money, do more, be more, to feel more like they're worth more? Because I feel like a lot of those companies that go to most of those events, I feel like they're doing it for the wrong reasons. That's me. I've never been there, but do you feel like it's because of what they're seeing and like, oh man, like I could get there that fast because now there's these platforms, or now there's help, or now there's the digital age? Like, do you think it's kind of damaging that?
I think that like some people on Instagram, I think some of these programs make it seem like it's easier than it really is. Like, hey, come to this seminar. We'll teach you how to make $1 million. It's like,
yeah, I hear that a lot.
Not really. Like, you'll get some tips and pointers, and like some catchy phrases and stuff like that, but you're not going to learn how to make $1 million, But there's some stuff where you can talk to people and like refine an idea or an approach, like that, just like Instagram, right? Like, there's some people where you can talk to them about like, how do you do your mailer marketing, right? You send out mailers. You're like the mailer king. I talked to a guy who spends like $18,000 a month on mailers. And he's got this whole mailer process and system, and how he gathers addresses and when he sends them out, how often he sends them out. Like, that's something that I could learn that would benefit me in particular, right? But it's not going to help almost anybody else, right? But somebody who's looking to do mass marketing like that on this kind of a budget and that sort of a demographic, that would be helpful. But if I was like $150,000 painting company, like that wouldn't mean shit to me to go learn about that. You know?
Yeah.
Right. Unless I'm trying to get to $10 million or whatever. But that's what I mean. Like it's not, I think more people should learn about the basics, like the basic principles of business, and then apply them to a painting business. Like that would be more beneficial. That would be like the learning from your mistakes, tracking information, tracking data, learning how to A/B test a marketing run. You know, like how do you figure out if it worked better with this picture versus that picture? You know, how do you test that?
Yeah.
Like that, if you want to really grow, is like learning those basics and understanding those really well would be more beneficial than going to the PCA and hearing people talk about how they made $5 million in their first year in business.
Yeah. So I see someone just said it's a business first, but for me, it's more like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, is it like, I kind of feel like we should learn how to freaking paint first before you show off all your incredible skills in marketing, because I think that's.
Yeah, that part depends. Like I personally agree with you. Is like learn how to do the trade really well.
Yeah.
You know, like in 3 or 4 years, really learning it, make a lot of mistakes, learn like basic principles in painting. Like so many people don't know how to troubleshoot. You know, like so many people don't know how to figure out why is the fisheye happening, and how do I work backwards to figure out if it's from the paint or the gun or the surface. Like a lot of people don't know how to figure that out. That's like, it's almost like the scientific method, right? It's like really kind of simple to figure it out, but you have to test these 3 different things.
Process of elimination.
Seriously, but that's like basic troubleshooting. And a lot of people don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Or they don't want to freaking do it. I see that all the time. It's like, yo, you can't just get the answer right now, because now you have all these avenues, these events, people, messaging, and you can just be like, hey, how do I fix this? Or hey, how do I do this? And it's like, I actually had somebody do that to me the other day, and finally I was just like, yo, dude, you're just going to have to go and freaking try it, man. I can't tell you every little piece of the way down.
Yeah. So, but then on the other side, like that's how I feel personally, is you should like have some respect for the trade, right? That's like an old school thing to say, and it's not new school at all, but that's how I feel personally, right? I think when it comes to business, who cares? Who cares if you like painting or you're good at painting or you're not? It's just business, right? You can make t-shirts. You don't have to love t-shirts and respect the craft of making t-shirts. Just screen print some shit on it and try to sell as many as you can, you know? And I think painting, so like the painting businesses that are here now, like right now, I think there's a huge opportunity to like blow up a company if you want to, right? In the painting business, there are a lot of flakes. There are a lot of guys that don't answer their phone. They don't show up on time. They don't do good work. They cut out early on projects. They whatever, right? Like there's not the most professionalism in painting. And it's the same for a lot of trades, but painting is what I know, right? So these companies that come in where it's just a business person that comes in and they don't know anything about painting, but they worked for college pro painters in college, right? And they just sold paint jobs all day long, right? That was their internship or their whatever, right? Sold the job, had sub crew do it for as cheap as possible, got paid, got college credit, and they're out. Those people are running painting companies now, right? Those people, they know how to sell a job. They know how to get it sold, how to get the client, how to get a review, how to whatever. They know how to build a painting business from that aspect. They don't know how to manage quality on paint, but they know how to manage the customer, you know? And so those guys come in, they just manage the customer, that's it, you know? And they try to not do terrible work. Like that's what they're aiming for. They're not aiming for high-end work.
Yeah, they're just aiming not to fuck up.
Yeah, just not terrible, right?
Yeah.
Enough to like leave the customer satisfied, right? Like you can manipulate a customer relatively easily, right? Like you can, if I had a customer and I give them an update every day, what happened today, what's going to happen tomorrow, even a phone call or a text would, you know, just to let them know I'm thinking about them, right? Like hold their hand along the whole process. At the end of it, you know, hey, is there anything that we could do to make this go any smoother for you, blah, 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 right? Like you could sell the shit out of it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And just by that process, it almost doesn't matter what your pain is like, as long as it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Right. Like, cause they're going to be like, oh, they were so great. They communicated the whole time. They were so professional. They sent me this nice little wine cup at the end of it, a little gift basket. You know what I mean? Like,
so many people do that and they make great money doing it.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, so you can come in as that kind of a company, just don't do terrible work, and kill it on customer service.
Yeah.
You can build a huge company off of that.
Yeah. My buddy who's into sales and marketing that was helping me a little bit at the beginning of last year, he was like, you just don't like sales, hey? I was like, well, I just feel like it's like, not that you're lying, but it's like, you're just not telling the full truth. And it's like, and once you get them like nodding yes, it's like you got them. So like you said, it doesn't really kind of matter after that. He's like, you should try it. And I was like, man, I don't know if I could do it. I don't really don't.
So like my estimator is a salesperson.
Yeah, for
he's sold cars before, he's sold whatever. Like he's a salesperson. And I don't like all the stuff that he says, you know, because he sounds like a salesperson part of the time to me. And I don't like salespeople, right? I don't like to hear salespeople.
I think that's my problem too. It's like, I don't want to be sold the moon. I'm good.
Oh, and I don't like the, you know, keep asking yes questions. Like, I don't like all that bullshit. Yeah. Personally, I like it. In business, it works, right? Personally, I don't like it at all. And there are some things that I won't allow him to say, right? Like he had been in the habit of saying, we're the best painting company in all of Orange County. I'm like, I don't like you saying that, right? Like I don't like it. It's like gross to me. Don't say that. You can say we're among the best painting companies. You can say we're one of the best in Orange County. You can say any of those things. Not that we're the best. Like I don't not believe it, but I don't know that it's true, right? Like just don't. I don't like it.
It's hard, man, because that's what kind of irks me sometimes with social media is that you can kind of paint this narrative if you're consistent enough in your sales pitch that people start thinking shit is like for real sometimes. And you're like, yo, like that's not like, so I'm totally agreeing with you in the sense that there shouldn't be a best. Like I'm even with the products and like the tools, and people are getting so adamant and they're not, all they have to do is change one word. Like you said, just like, hey man, you got to say, this is one of the best products, but it's like, this is the best now. This is the best. And I think a lot of people are jumping on shit that they think they need that they don't, you know?
Yeah, 100%. But that's like the sales side of it, right?
Oh, it drives me nuts.
When you're promoting yourself, then it's like, look, if you want to learn from the best, follow me, right? If you want to finishing the best way, I'll show you how. You know,
yeah. So what do you think? What do you think about the influencers? Like, do you think that's really affecting industries, period, and how people kind of look at content or look at how they can do their job based on the content they're going to get from it to kind of grow their sales? And I know that's confusing, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think like the influencers make things seem easier than they really are. You know, it's like you see, even if you see a little bit of the process, you don't really. Like, you know, if you watch somebody refinish cabinet doors, it's like, okay, you see that they sanded it, you see that they primed it, you see that they sprayed it, right? But you don't see like when they set up the machine, if something was going wrong with the machine. Like you didn't see them take apart the piston and check the ball and clean it out.
All the troubleshooting, like you're saying.
And why does my tip have a little tail? How, you know, turn the pressure up a little bit more. They don't see any of that, right? All they see is use this kind of sprayer, you put this kind of primer on, and you did this kind of finish, and it looks fantastic, right? And even that, right? Like, dude, through a camera, like a phone camera, I can make anything look fantastic. I've taken some pictures of shit where it's like, that does not look fantastic. But in the picture, it looks amazing, right?
Hey, I'm going to say this right now. I think that's everywhere online. And I think even for the big companies, when people are stating this is the best 2Ks, FPEs,
Yeah.
Everything. Like, I've told that to people who have messaged me and be like, yo, so like using fine paints in Europe now? And I'm just like, no, not really. I mean, I've tried it. It's like, yo, man, it's like the best. I'm like, have you ever gone to the actual Instagram and kind of just zoomed in? Like,
Right.
there's nothing wrong if it has like brush strokes in the finish. No one's hating on that, but you're like depicting it in a certain way where it's like, this is like fucking perfect. And you're like, nah, man, it's like not a lot of shit. And especially in the construction industry, that can be perfect.
Yeah, I know. But it should be sold that way, right? Like,
oh, they're master salesmen, all of those guys.
Yeah, it should be. This is a brushed finish and it looks amazing. It's not perfect like a sprayed finish, but it's close, right? Like if you look at it, you can see some of the brush strokes. You can see a little ripple in there, but it's a really nice brush finish, and that's cool.
Yeah, I would appreciate that more because, like you're saying, like, yeah, everything looks good in a freaking picture. So it's like, not that anyone wants to hate. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, yeah, I'd appreciate it if you just said it how it actually was. That's all.
But I think for like new people in painting see that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, well, I can just brush that and it's going to look the same as being sprayed. Like I see people all over Facebook, like brush and rolled cabinet doors. I can get them to look the same as sprayed. It's like, no way. You can't. Like there's not, you can get them really nice. You can get them smooth. You're not going to get a sprayed finish out of a brush and a roller.
It's not even scientifically possible.
Yeah. That's, but it should be, I can get a really nice finish out of a brush and roller. Right? I can get it laid down pretty well. Not quite as nice as a sprayed finish, but in my opinion, pretty close. Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I appreciate that more. I do. Cause I don't appreciate the clout chasing and stuff. It's like, just say it how it is. Like I get so much fucking flack all the time for still using lacquers, and I was like, I thought lacquer was still like a pretty good product. And people are kind of like, and I'm like, well, there's nothing like, and it's just like, this is the best now. I'm like, well, is it?
Right. That's where like, I go back on, we do a lot of repeat business, right?
Yeah.
And it's like projects that are like from 10 years ago, 12 years ago that we revisit. And I have lacquer going back a long way that still looks really good. It's like I have customers that took care of it. We had one that was like 8 years ago, one that was 4 years ago that I went to recently. I specifically was like, damn, these look really good still. Surprised that 8 years, this looks like, it looks pretty new. Like, but this person also takes care of them, right? And then I went to one that was from 4 years ago, and they're all dinged up, and it's like that person doesn't take care of them, But it's like if you hit a door with a pot, that shit is gonna make a ding no matter what you put on it.
Okay. So this is my whole thing about it. It's like I said, I think it'd be easier if people just said it more on how it was. But that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. It's like, let's see the data. Because my next question was going to be about like product and tool reviews. Because nothing drives me more crazy than when someone's like, okay, guys, got this brand new product here, brand new primer. It's supposed to be the bee's knees, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, it's brand new. Like, how can you know it's brand? Hey guys, I got this sprayer today. I'm just trying it out, That's okay. Here's my product review. How the fuck do you know if that's even good?
The 2K poly stuff, right? Like I started testing that in my shop like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, just to see if it was going to work, right? Like I don't want to test that on my client's house, right? It's like, you see reviews about it, you see whatever information about it. It's like, dude, I don't know, like if that shit could just fall apart, in like 6 months. I have no idea.
Well, you don't know. You don't, and nobody talks about, like I said, well, you said it too, maintenance. How about substrate density? Like you said, the scratch test drives me nuts because guys are like, and I'm like, yo, you can tell you're not pushing that hard, man. You're not pushing that hard.
So that was stuff for myself, right? And I do like hardcore scratching with keys and shit like that to see, all right, like some of the stuff I'll put a dent in the wood before it'll take the paint off.
So it's like, okay, yes.
Right. But I have lacquer stuff that'll do that too. It's like, it's not it took me a while to transition, but we still do quite a bit of lacquer. My main finish guy still likes lacquer better. He likes touching up with it better. He likes fixing mistakes with it better. He likes the durability. He likes the finish a little bit better than the 2K poly, but he's happy to use the 2K poly. He likes it. It gives a nice finish. It's like, that's probably about as close as a lacquer sheen, like smoothness that you can get.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not here to preach about, oh, lacquer, it's the best, it's this and that. That's my point. It's like, I've never once said this is the best. And that's my point. There's no...
Like you can't have someone come at you and say, oh, lacquer is shit, right? It's like,
dude, I'm telling you, I would get the most passive aggressive, like, so why are you still using lacquer? And it's like, well, let's, to be honest and real about it, it's just practical for what we're doing. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, I've played with a couple of 1K polys. I've never had a reason to jump into a 2K poly. I tried the FPE because I was like, I want to see this gloss up front and real and touch this shit. You know what I mean? But it all comes down to what I tell most people, money. It's like, yo, I'm not going to make any fucking money doing it like that.
My estimator called me today, like 2 hours ago, and was like, hey, I got a client who wants to do a high gloss ceiling. And I was like, I'm not doing it. He said, why not? And I said, because it's not just putting on a coating. It's not just a high gloss ceiling. And he's like, what do you mean? I think we can charge a lot of money for this. I'm like, yeah, we can charge a lot of money. But this is something like, you see pictures online, you see people do it. He's like, I watched a YouTube video and it seems like a pretty simple process. And I'm like, dude, like to do a high gloss ceiling for real, like it could take 2 weeks to get our first real finish coat on there. If that's messed up at all, we're sanding it, redoing it. There's another 3 days, and then another 3 days, and another 3 days. Like no, I'm not even gonna. It's not worth it to me. Like we got that question maybe like 3 times, 4 times now in like 20 years. Like it's not worth it. And like pictures you see online and people you see on YouTube doing it, like that's not the whole process. Like
no, freaking no, man.
That wall or ceiling so easily. And be back at square one. Like it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, I think it comes back to like we were saying before. It's definitely not worthless, you know.
Right.
I definitely think that everything has its place, and if you can make a shitload of money doing it and doing it well, fucking go hard. I'm not saying anything about that. I think it's when the sales aspect comes in where it's like, this is the best. And it's like, well, that's hard because going to sleep without the worry of, you know, being broke is the best.
Yeah. But so even like YouTube got to my estimator, right? It's like, he's YouTube, right? I saw it on YouTube, John. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. Our guys could probably do this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
but what if we don't? What if we mess up, you know, and then mess up again and mess up again? Like I'm going to be stuck with this stupid gloss ceiling job.
Yeah.
Stuck on my mind for a month. Like it's not worth it. Oh, like he was like, the ceiling was pretty smooth already. I'm like, dude,
what do you know?
Yeah. You have no idea.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, I'm more of a challenge guy. So if someone said, yeah, I want a high gloss, like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's try. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
and it's fun for me to try stuff like that. Me personally.
Yeah.
Or like me. I like wasting my time on that kind of stuff. But it's not reasonable for me to have my staff do that kind of stuff. Like that's like I've had jobs like that go sideways just because like we couldn't get this one thing perfect, you know. Like we did this big house. It's like a 14,000 square foot house here in Newport, like on the coast. These people pay $16 million cash for this house. It's like overseas family. We were doing lacquer finish work inside the house, and our portion was 130 grand, and they wanted to pay all cash for it, right? Like it was sketchy. It was like they gave me a deposit. I had to like bring one of those little markers to test the hundreds. I had to like, you know, I called my wife like, hey, I'm leaving now. You know, like check in with me in 10 minutes. I don't know. Call me out. Like it was. And so, but there was this big giant atrium, right? It was like 25 foot high, but it's wainscoting all the way, you know, floor to ceiling. And we're using lacquer. We can't get it to slow down enough with retarder. Like it was just like we had to do a lot of testing. And we ended up like masking off sections so we could spray the opposing sections and then blending in our seams, you know, that kind of.
Oh yeah, I feel you. Oh, I totally feel you.
Yeah. But it's stuff like, you know, that was more in our wheelhouse than something like gloss would be.
Yeah.
Right. I would have fun with gloss myself. But I also don't pay myself to test, to experiment, you know, like I have to pay my guys to experiment.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now that we're on that though, do you do many cash jobs?
Cash? Yeah. I mean, if they want to pay cash, it doesn't matter to me.
So hopefully no government is watching. Well, they're probably listening to us, but like I kind of stopped because I did a big job for cash. And then it's like everybody I talked to after, I'm like, hey, like, what the fuck am I going to do with all this? And a lot of them are like, yeah, I don't know. They just pay for groceries for the next 10 years. I'm like, what the fuck?
So I'll do like, I don't do unrecorded cash all the time.
Well, okay. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
I'm going to pay cash, right? I'll just give them a discount for cash. You know, like we have 3% included in all of our pricing in case somebody wants to pay with a credit card. If they want to pay with cash, we'll give them a 3% discount. And like cash is only good, like if you have too much money, you know, like if you already have too much money, then cash is helpful, you know? Yeah. If you don't have too much money, then cash doesn't mean shit. Like
no, especially if you're trying to like attain assets or invest. Like, you have to be very careful how you use it. Very, very, very careful.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it would be like to keep it around the house or something like that. You know, that might be like safety money or whatever.
Yeah.
But I usually will run it through the bank, even if somebody pays in cash.
You will, hey?
Yeah. Yeah. But so like on that big job, they gave, it was like 30 grand, payments of like 30 grand. And they were like, please don't deposit more than 7,000 at once. Like
that's what the bank was telling you?
Oh, that's what the people who gave me the money, the client was telling me. Like, don't put this all in the bank at once. It's going to draw a red flag. Like, it was sketchy.
Yeah. See, that's why I didn't really, no, I can't like, and then again, I feel nervous with just cash sitting in the house in like a safe. You know, did that for a while and I was just like, and I was like, well, I could hit the casino, you know, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I don't know. It's a little dangerous in my opinion, Yeah. So, maybe on a personal note, how's things been for you and yours with COVID and everything?
All good. My wife is vaccinated, but I'm not. My kids are not. She got vaccinated because what? Oh, she had to for work.
Your wife?
So, yeah. So currently, like we're now getting like through that, like this last 2 years, we haven't had like any real close friends getting sick or anything like that. But these last couple of weeks we have, like now this Omicron thing, we know a lot of people getting sick, right? Yeah. For business, it was really only bad like the first month of like when everything started happening. You know, nobody knew what was going on, any of that stuff. But here specifically, like I don't think people care that much about it, really. Like by the beach, you know, like there's a lot of Trump supporters out here. You know, it's like a interesting area. People with money that support Trump. But I don't like. Nobody takes it that seriously out here.
Really? Hey.
Yeah. So it's not like we don't like our. I would say maybe like 1 out of 100 clients actually want us to make sure we wear masks inside. So I had one request for a job that we're doing like in 2 weeks, and it was odd. You know, they're like, I just want to make sure that everybody's wearing masks inside. I was like, yeah, no problem. You know, we always show up with masks and are like, you know, do you want to do masks inside or not? It's like, no, you're fine. Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people here might be thinking that way, but the mandates here are just retarded still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're just still so much to go through.
Yeah. Bad in LA. So Los Angeles is just north of us. And it's really strict in that county. So that's like masks everywhere. People there worry about it way more. So it's different for sure.
Yeah.
But not a very big deal. We're not very restricted, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much does your work affect your family life now? Have you been able to kind of step back and do more, have more time for yourself? Or are you still now, because you've grown, that is it consuming you more, or is it you're finding time to,
So it depends. Like, I can, for the most part, do whatever I want when I want, for the most part. Like, I'll set appointments for myself during the day that I can't miss, you know? Tomorrow I'm meeting with a client at 9 a.m. I can't miss that. Like, I could have not set that appointment at 9, but I set it and now I have to stick to it.
Yeah.
Right? So the things that I have to do are usually things that I put into place, you know? Monday mornings, like if I go to start jobs, I don't technically have to do that. I could just do more planning, you know? I could like meet with my guy on Friday, whoever's running that project, go through the pictures, go through the notes, put together a nice list for him, and then hand it. Call the client, say, hey, client, Luis is going to be there on Monday. This is what we discussed. You know, when he gets there, you're going to walk through, blah, 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 blah. And then everybody knows exactly what to do when Monday comes. I don't have to be there, you know? But I don't do that part, and then I just show up on Monday and take care of it in person.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's like I could choose to never go in ever if I want to do more planning on the front end, you know? So that's just a choice. I like going on site and stuff like that.
So you could step away and your business would probably be self-sustainable.
I couldn't disappear, but I could never see anybody in person again. That could happen.
I see. I gotcha.
Right.
I gotcha.
On the computer or on the phone.
Yeah.
I definitely that still. Yeah.
Do you think you could do that? Do you think that it'd be possible for you? Is it even something you want?
It's not something that I want, but it would definitely be possible. Yeah. So like when we were doing 3 million, I didn't take that much of an active role in it. Like I had people in the office that were managing communication with clients, managing payroll, managing like scheduling guys on projects. Like I didn't, you know, I had painters that I didn't really know. Right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And have clients now that I wouldn't know if I ran into them at the grocery store. You know, like I could have a client. I have had clients be like, oh, is that your truck? Oh, you guys did a job for me last week or a month ago or whatever, right? Like that's, I would never know.
Wow.
So I don't want to not be a part of it. I do like being involved. I like the creative side of it, and I like the on-site side of it. I don't like all the busy work in the middle. So like for me on Friday, if I want to get everything dialed in, totally ready to go for Monday, it's totally doable. Like it wouldn't be that hard to do. I just have to sit there and hammer through the work, hammer through the paperwork, and then Monday, not do anything, you know, like turn my phone off and hang out at the beach or whatever. Right.
Yeah. That'd be dope.
But I like going on site. I like, you know, talking with the guys, talking with the client, whatever. I like doing that stuff, you know.
So do you think being more passionate about it, I mean, of course, if you're there and you're, you know, nurturing it and stuff like that, do you think that is very, very key to being successful for the long haul?
I don't know. So I don't think I would say I'm passionate about painting. I'm probably more passionate about the business side of it. It's just painting is the business that I'm in. But I like painting and I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that I've been able to do because of it. But when I was like 18, I could have just as easily gotten into carpentry and I would have loved that, or tile or drywall or any other trade, right? I enjoy painting. Like it's fun for me. I'm pretty good at it. I like to do it. I don't want to do it every day and I don't want to have to do it. Right. But I could see a world where I have to start over and, you know, I start another painting company.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I mean, if I moved like somewhere, I don't know, if I moved to the Midwest, I would find a job with a painting company and then start doing side jobs, like just build it back up again.
No doubt, eh?
Yeah.
Actually, what is the name of your company?
JQ Paint.
JQ Paint?
John's Quality Painting.
Oh, okay, nice.
I just had to shorten it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I just know you as John or at paint school, so I actually didn't really know. But yeah. Yeah. So do you have any schooling? Like, do you have an MBA or anything, or you just learned this as you went along through the experience of time?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm a thinker, I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff, and I think the way that I was raised probably helped me out with that. And no, I mean, I worked for a couple good companies, starting out, got a pretty good range of different types of jobs, like commercial, residential, apartment complexes, stuff like that. But it's been like learning from mistakes. And, I talk to a lot of my customers. Yeah. I've always talked to my customers a lot, like not intruding, but a lot of people like to help a young guy out, and if they have some success, they're hiring a painting company to come do work on their house. They own their house. They like to offer words of wisdom. And so if I stroke their ego a little bit, right? And like, I've had tons of conversations with like lawyers, with high level salespeople, high level business owners, like, just to get information, like just to learn something, all these people could teach me something.
Absolutely.
Not to do. Like, I had this one client who was in Laguna Beach. He had like 2 Ferraris, like I don't even know what the Mercedes was, but like super high-end vehicle. His house is on the hills. Like, we're doing a $20,000 refinish on all his exterior mahogany. And, the guy makes those little plastic fruit containers, wow. Right? Like blueberries and raspberries and stuff like that.
Yep.
He sells them for like whatever, 3 pennies each or something like that, 4 pennies each. He just sells like billions of them, but he's at grocery stores all the time trying to figure out how the fuck this other company is selling them for less than he is, right? Like, one little change and his whole business is gone, and like, that's the stress that he's under. He's like, I pop into grocery stores all the time just to see if they're still using my stuff, using someone else's, like, he's like just constantly stressed about that.
Yeah, that'd be scary, because first minute you're there, next minute you're not, especially if you're not keeping up with it, right?
Yeah. Like, there goes your whatever account of 10 million orders a month. So it's like, you learn, like, through enough of those conversations, through enough of like inquiring, that people are really similar. And like, no matter what level of business people are at, like, they're going through really similar problems. Like, it takes a really long time and like probably a really unique scenario where you actually get away from the problems, or the stress of the day-to-day or whatever. But like, most people are dealing with the same kind of struggles, just at a different level.
Yeah.
Like, he's still stressed that he's going to run out of business, and like, then what happens to his house and his Ferraris and whatever? Is he overextended? He probably worries about that.
Like, for sure. My father-in-law once gave me the best advice. We were talking about millions and millions, and all I remember him saying, I can't remember how it came about, but he was just like, it's all the same, just a different number.
Yeah.
Like, it's all the same, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's a pretty good point, to tell you the truth,
So like, for me, having some savings was the main thing to make life feel easier.
Does the same thing with me, yeah.
Safety net.
Yep.
Make life feel easier. Like the, Alf and I were talking earlier about where in Huntington Beach I live. I think he used to live out here. And I live in a nice neighborhood, and the last place that we live, so we rent our place in Huntington. We bought the place in Big Bear. The last that we lived, like, I could have stayed in fine, but the place we moved to is like really nice neighborhood, fancy neighborhood, and all that shit. And I told him, you know, like this place we moved to, it's like keeping up with the Joneses. Like that's kind of what that move was. And I was like, but it's like, that'll be the last move that I do on something like that for a while. But I told him the same thing. Like for me, the most comfortable thing to me is like having money in the bank. Like the nice things are cool and it's fun and like you get some joy out of it. But having money in the bank, like that's the thing that makes me feel okay. Like I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I can have some stuff go wrong and I'm fine. Like, you know, when the pandemic thing hit, it was like, all right, how much money do we have in savings? You know, like how long, what's our runway here? How long can we last?
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
like,
man.
it'll work or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's having some money in the bank is like that's what gives me some comfort.
Oh,
you know?
man. I was all about that with the whole COVID thing. I think some people might have been pissed at me a little bit because I was more saying like, yo, this is like a lesson, especially if you're self-employed. Like you really couldn't work for 6 months to a year without your company. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think a lot of people would be like, no, I couldn't even live for 3 months. And it's like, you shouldn't be in business, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's dangerous as fuck. But so many people are doing that, but they just don't prepare themselves. You know what I mean? They don't like nice things they have time limits for me. I'm like you. I'm like, you know what? I can have something nice anytime. And some things nowadays you don't even freaking need money to get. You can finance it. You can freaking go and walk out with it right then and there, you know? So
yeah, it's like, I appreciate the nice things, but you get used to them. You know, I mean, it's not new all the time. Like I have a truck but with my truck, like I've been building, right? Like my last truck I paid off, then got a little bit nicer truck, paid that off, got a little bit nicer. Like that's been build. But like, I love my truck, you know, I'm in it all the time. I like looking at it, you know, like that's something I really enjoy all the time, you know, not just, but like a nice house. It's like, yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the neighborhood we're in, but it's too much money, you know, like I would be more comfortable spending less money.
But it's also too, like sometimes if you kind of get in at a good time and it's like, I can see why people would sort of jump into like debt and financing sometimes, because if you know you're going to be working for the next 10 years and you can borrow the money from the bank and get into a good neighborhood at a pretty decent price, if you know you're going to be working for the next 10, 20 years, that's sort of an investment right there, right? Yeah. So it's like, it depends how people think about it. Like with me for the truck, it's like truck is more of a liability. But because I'm driving so much, I don't want to be breaking down on the side of the freaking road, right?
I just want to enjoy it. I like nice vehicle.
Yeah, you can't take it all with you when you die, right? So it's like, I agree with you, but I seen someone wrote in here, the more money you make, the more expensive your lifestyle gets. And I try so hard not to do that at all.
That's a big one. That's like, and that's what I mean. Like upgrading your lifestyle all the time is like, that sucks everything out of it. And it's like, you can't do less business. You can't do less money. So like during that period when we did high sales, like I couldn't stop. Like I couldn't stop it. It was like, if I stop this machine, I'm fucked. Like I have big bills that are due, you know, like if we don't keep selling $65,000 a week, like I'm going to be stuck, you know?
So how do you get out of that?
Took a loan, got out of it, paid off the stuff, moved on.
But do you start taking pieces away or adding pieces to make up for the
scheduling jobs further apart from one another, right? So like it was like a rat wheel, a mouse wheel, right?
Yeah.
Because we would get the jobs in, I'd have to schedule them. So I got 35 guys I need to keep busy. So we're scheduling 12 jobs next week, 12 the week after, 13 the week after that. Well, I can't, you know, if I lose 3 guys, I have to hire more because we have those 12 jobs we got to do next week. So we find 3 guys, get them in there, get them some basic training.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, like, I don't want to bring these guys on and then let them go 3 weeks later, because now I got to push all the jobs back, right? So keep them on, sell the jobs, get them booked. Like, it's just.
I always found that was the biggest struggle, because I had a guy, and I thought about this when you said about, sometimes you meet clients who want to help the younger guy. I had a guy like that who helped me out. It took them months to get back to me on the quote, but I was just like, oh my God, they said yes. I was one guy. I was like, when I was first starting out. But he was always saying to me, because he tried to help me, I was like, especially if they're very wealthy and they're very successful, I want to pick the shit out of their brain.
Yeah. As long as they'll let, as long as they're into it.
Yeah, as long as they're into it. And this guy was very kind. He was very nice. His name was Mike. So I painted his house, did well. He gave me the opportunity, gave me the chance. And then he started sort of like just giving me tips on the business. But he was adamant that get the work, find the help later. But it always seems like it's this kind of struggle where it's like, okay, well, do I get the work and then find the guys, or do I find the guys and then if I don't have the work? So like, what do you think?
Yeah, well, that's so, like, for me, once I build the schedule out a certain amount, then I'll start bringing guys in, right? Then I'll start hiring more guys. I don't want to be in a position where I have to have more guys, but I also don't want to be in a position where I can't keep them busy.
Yeah.
Like, the strong position to me is plenty of work on the schedule, and I can either take 3 months to do all that work with the guys that I have, or I can hire 2 more and take 2.5 months to do that work.
Right.
Got to start filling up the schedule again, right? I don't like being stuck with having guys that I can't keep busy, especially if I get good guys in, like guys that I really want to hang on to. And even just like the majority of my guys are working paycheck to paycheck, There's only a couple of my guys that are like buying houses.
Yeah.
Buying properties and like really doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rest are like paycheck to paycheck, And if a week comes up where it's like, yeah, I've got 3 days, nothing for you to do. It's like, dude, that's like, 50% of my paycheck, 60% of my paycheck gone. I was counting on that money.
Yeah, right? That's hard for sure. So do you think it'd be better to kind of go with a subcontract basis where the labor's sort of disposable, when you're like, we're not busy, go keep busy and then come back?
So I like that, but we're not allowed to do that here, California.
In this sense,
we can't have, if we tell them what to do, we provide materials, it's very strict here on how you can have, like, I don't know the exact law, so nobody quote me on it. But I think you can't subcontract someone to do what your company does. So like, this was because of Uber. I don't remember, but really recently, it got really strict. It's always been strict here, but it just got really strict like last year, the year before.
Uber?
Yeah, I think it was how you can classify someone as a subcontractor versus an in-house. It's because you're like controlling their hours and you're not giving them benefits, right? California, I think, is the most strict about it. But so I have a couple subs that I use. I don't know if it's completely the right way, but it's nice because they're like my overflow, right? And then basically between the two of them is like 6 or 7 guys, It's great for them because I pay well and I get my own business, right? Like they're not doing any marketing to get my work. My job's just keep rolling in. Like they're not spending a penny on marketing. They're not anything, right? They're just getting this business like for free. I got to pay for marketing. I got to sell the job. I got to whatever. And they're just strolling in and doing it and getting a paycheck,
No, I've told people you can make a pretty lucrative you can be pretty lucrative even just subbing.
Yeah. You can do that. You just can't sub when you're a sub. Like they can't sell that job to another sub crew and make money.
Hell no.
But guys, like, do that, right? Like they're trying to sub, like the wages for them are less. Like I need to make a piece off of this deal too, right?
Yeah.
So I take my piece off the top. They get paid well, and it's really well if they do it quickly, and it's just okay if they take longer, but it's a good living. Um, and so, yeah, those are nice. Like there's a lot of companies. I think the other big companies around like that are public at all are on the sub model. They're doing subcontract work because you can ramp it up or scale it down like as quickly as you want to.
Yeah.
You're not on the hook for keeping these people busy 40 hours a week. You're not even watching their hours. Like you're not tracking hours.
No.
There's a lot that comes off the table when you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing for me was I hated, like you said, having guys that are kind of like your full times and then you got to make them sit, right? Mm-hmm. And that's tough on them. So sometimes I think about like, well, maybe I should just find a good couple of companies that can do this or that. And then it's like, like you said, it's easier to control. And it's like, well, I'm good right now. I don't need to work, but always having those mouths to feed sometimes a pain in the ass. And I love my guys, but like you said, sometimes it's like, man, is it detrimental if you sit home for 3 days? And then am I thinking all night like, oh man, poor guy, like maybe I should try and find another job. And it's like, oh, but I don't like, I'm good. You know what I mean?
That was like this Christmas and New Year's break. Like I didn't want to work. I didn't want to think about work. I didn't want anything, but my guys need to work.
Yeah.
I need to take 2 weeks off. We do some paid vacation, but it's not going to cover for all of them. It's not going to cover the 2 weeks. And so I scheduled projects, for those 2 weeks. And then I had guys calling out sick. I was so pissed.
Dude, like, don't even get me fucking started.
It was like schedule like messed up. So I'm like almost every day having to spend some time trying to figure out how am I going to make the schedule work? Who am I going to put where? What am I going to do? Like the whole time, dude, I don't even want to be working at all these 2 weeks, like zero.
Yeah, that drives me absolutely, especially when I have the feeling that they're kind of like looking at you for like, hey man, like I need to work. Like, you said you needed to work, man. Why did you take Friday off? Like,
I know. Yeah.
That's the shit that drives me the most crazy. So that's why I haven't completely scaled, because I'm just like, for me personally as a human and for my family, I'm like, if y'all ain't going to save your fucking money, I'm going to. So I'm like, all right, like, so I guess to the next question is like, do you have any side hustles?
I don't think so.
Because like, what's the end game for you, like, John?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I'm on the fence about making the company like $20 million.
Like, is it something that you worry about even? Because I asked the question because I'm interested, but I think some people don't even care.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do what I'm doing now until I die, like I'm fairly free right now. I'm with a little bit more planning, I could be very free right now. But I like doing what I do, I like working, I like being in the office. I enjoy it. So every now and then I kick myself like I'm doing it the wrong way, because I know I could be more efficient, right? I know like with a little bit more discipline and a little bit more planning, like I could shave off some hours in every one of my days,
But that's for you personally. That doesn't necessarily to say that if you did that, the business would do better.
No, right. It probably would a little bit. There would be some measurable amount because it's probably like fewer mistakes happen. Like there's some stuff where the business would do a little better. But it's not anything significant, So, yeah, I mean, I don't like in order to enjoy like being able to like retire early, you have to have other people that can retire early too around you, right? Like
that's a good point.
We were like last summer I was doing a lot of boating and a lot of fishing and stuff like that, and I don't have anybody to go with me. Like, cause even now, like I'm in the cabin by myself for a couple of days,
Doesn't that fucking suck?
I like being alone.
No, I like being alone too, but sometimes I'm also like, where is this going to be in like 10, 15 years? Like, it's like, am I still going to, like, I have my wife. Thank goodness, because some people might not have that, but it's like, yeah, you're boating, you're doing all these amazing things. You're like, hey man, I've worked hard for this, but you don't have anyone to share it with sometimes,
Yeah. And it's like, I don't have buddies that can just take off whenever. I have like some buddies who have more lenient schedules than others, but not many who it's like, hey, you want to go up to the cabin for a couple of days, do some snowboarding, fishing, whatever. Not many people I can call that are in that position. They're like working, it's like, well, I can go over the weekend, or I can call, get some time off, like whatever. Right?
Yeah. That's how it was like when we had kids young. It's like now all of our friends are having kids and it's like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So that part of it, like, you had asked earlier about how it affects my family, and like, my kids are 11 and 6, and so they're in sports, fairly heavily. And like, I don't miss any practices. I don't miss any games, I'm able to do all that stuff. Right now we have, like a sitter at the house, and she's out with COVID right now. So my wife and I are doing pickups and drop offs all week. So like, I can make my schedule be whatever I need it to be. So I'm not like very limited with that. If it's a normal day, like I'll go to the gym in the morning. I'll start work around 7 or 8, and I'll be home like around 5.
Nice.
Like just on a normal day, if there's nothing going on and it's just do what you want for the day, that's what I'll do.
That's awesome though. That's like what people say, you work hard now so you don't have to work so hard later,
Yeah.
Does your wife work?
Yeah. She's, for a while she didn't. I think maybe 2 years she didn't work at all. But she likes working, she's a career woman. She's motivated.
Yeah.
So, I don't think she, enjoyed staying home,
My wife stayed home until the kids could be in school full time. And then she went back to work more for her sanity.
Yeah. I think that's what for my wife. I know that she wants to accomplish things, and
my wife too. Yeah. My wife's still fairly young. So it's like, we were talking the other night, and like, there's still a possibility of her going back to school if she wants. Like she's got options, but that's why I kind of like being self-employed, because then it's like, I can do pickups. I can do all this other stuff. Well, it's like, yeah, you go concentrate on your career. Like, I got this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the reason why, like, being in a business like this is fantastic. For the last 20 years of my life, I've been able to, even when I had to work, it's like, I could still plan it out so I could leave early, or I could come in late.
Yeah.
Like, that's been a perk of this business for a long time.
Yeah. I love the freedoms of that for sure. For sure, man. Definitely. Well, it seems like you guys are all handling it. Your wife, I mean, I was thinking about doing a podcast I was going to try it out with my wife, but I don't know how well it would work asking my wife questions about myself.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be kind of cool to see a perspective from them, because it's hard to be that,
I mean, so like for my wife, like for me, I can control my time, like for the most part. Right. But I also like working on my business. So like, if I get some free time at home, that's what I'm doing. I'm like checking emails, responding.
I'm fucking the same.
Schedule stuff. Like, if I get a half-hour window, maybe like, if we're out at the, out of town for the weekend and we're at the pool, I'll bring my laptop down there just in case I feel like hopping on. Like, if we're not doing anything, what's the big deal, right?
Yeah. Well, my wife, I just tell her, you plan it. Because if you're going to leave it to me to like, so like, what's your schedule like? What do you, I'm like, no, just book it and I'll make it work.
So that's like our conversation is, she knows that I can do anything, right? I can do anything, but you got to ask me for it. Because if you just leave it to me, I'm going to just come home at 5 every day. That's comfortable to me. Like, me come home at 2, I can come home at 2, but you got to ask me to do it.
Right? I know my wife though, she would be like, why do I have to ask you every time? Can't you just, and I'm like, yeah, like,
so that's what I was going to say is sure that I just want to be home at 2, right? I want to like not look at my laptop or my phone or whatever, but I enjoy it. I have fun doing it.
Me too, man. That's where I'm most comfortable. And she knows it too. So like I tip my hat to them because I'm a pain in the ass.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, it looks like everything's going good, man. And you're doing well. And you look happy and everything looks good. I mean, cause that's the thing. Like I think a lot of times with social media, everybody looks happy.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing so well, and I think sometimes it's not always like that. So that's why I'm glad that I can bring guys like you on that can be like, yo, like I made, the company made $3 million and it was the worst year. Like that's like good information for people to hear because like that's the real shit. Like you're saying, that's the stuff that people are really talking about. You know what I mean? So
those are some things I'd like to like bring to light more. It's not as easy as it seems. And like a lot of people on social media make this stuff seem really easy. Like these different types of finishes, these different processes, like there's a lot to it, and like understanding the basic principles. That's what I mean, where you don't know how to troubleshoot anything. You don't know, like, okay, we did $3 million in sales. How did everything go so wrong? It's like we had to break apart all the processes and figure out where we're losing money and how do we not repeat this, And it was hard decisions like letting go of, the 2 girls I had in the office. They were with me for like 3 or 4 years. It's like to be like, hey, I failed, right? Like I can't employ you guys anymore. Like I can't figure it out, or I can't figure it out yet.
Yeah. I
thought I was smart enough to be able to pull together, and because like halfway through that year, like I could see the writing on the wall. It was like this machine's getting out of control. Like but I kept thinking like I can figure it out. Like I just have to get a little more disciplined. I have to do a little more of this or a little more of that. And then came a time where it's like, all right, I can't keep doing it like this. Like this, I have to cut it off.
That's so crazy that you say that because I think I'm really good at that. I think that I can really foresee things, and I think you're a little more brave than I am because I'm the guy that's like, no, I don't think that's good. I'm seeing that could be like bad, right?
I went as long as I could.
You did.
Literally, yep. It was not. I didn't want to. Like it was. Yeah. I listened to some podcast, something like that, and it was like, I did not want to fire this girl out of my office. It's like I didn't want to like tell her that I couldn't keep her employed anymore. I knew it was the right decision. And I listened to this podcast and it was like, for 48 hours, it's going to suck. That decision is going to suck for 48 hours. But then after that 48 hours, you're going to be happy that you made the decision, right? And I was like, that was the only thing I could think is like, dude, I just got to suck it up and do it. Like this, all right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Yep.
And that's it. But
hey man, if it was easy, everyone would be fucking doing it. Yeah. So that's tough, man. That is really, really tough. But if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So
yeah, but so now it's like we're in a sweet spot. Like I don't have to work that much. Things are pretty smooth. Like there's not too much that can go wrong. Everything's very manageable right now. So it's like, do I want to rock the boat? I don't know if the growth is just to prove that I can. Like I don't know what's motivating me for it.
I feel you, man. I heard I don't know if you listen to Jordan Peterson much, but I seen one of his reels that was like, when people tell you to like be polite, be calm. That was like what I was thinking at the beginning of this year. It was like kind of one of my New Year's resolutions. And then when I heard that little clip where it's like, you want to be a monster, I was like,
and then learn how to control.
And learn how to control it. But I'm worried like that maybe it'll be out of control. Because when I'm hungry for something, I'm like fucking hungry for something. Like, I painted 12 pieces of furniture. Didn't even know if I could sell them or not. And guess what, John? They're all in my fucking basement.
Shit.
Well, it's like I just didn't even care if I could sell them because my goal wasn't money on it. It was like, Could I do a furniture line? Yeah. Am I
Right.
going to try? You're fucking right.
Yeah.
So I feel you because it's tough.
I went and did the Vero Metal seminar out in Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
Bought like $1,000 or $1,200 worth of equipment to do it at the shop. And all I did was like dick around with it, Like I'm not trying to sell a Vero Metal job,
Yeah. I actually had someone in here asked about that briefly. Like, what do you think about it? Do you think,
Oh, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, it's like, it finishes like a 2-part polyurethane, like a solvent based, right? Like a 2-part product, like an epoxy kind of. And it looks like crap when it dries. It has like this milky layer on top of it, but then you start like buffing it and pushing it. And it's like, dude, that's like real bronze, or copper or real tin. Like, and then you start thinking like, dude, this stuff could go anywhere, like you can spray this on anything. But then it's like, what's the real world application? It's like you would do stuff for designers, like vent hoods in kitchens, mirrors, maybe some handrails, stuff like that, But like, unless you were like traveling around the country only doing that, being like a specialist. Like Turner Painting does.
I've seen
real
it.
Stuff. It's not all the time.
No.
Not often even, right?
No.
But it's cool stuff. Like it's really.
Yeah, I seen some of it. I think it was really cool. But I'm the same. I'm like, well, because like we were working in such high end homes that it's like, oh man, can you make my door look like copper? And these people are like, we're putting real fucking copper.
Right. Yeah. Point where when you can afford it, why would you do the coating?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, well, man, we've been going for 2 hours and 47 minutes. So I just want to say thanks so much for doing this. You are extremely intelligent. You look like you're running a great business. Thanks again for doing this. It's always great chats, man, for sure.
It's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming. And I say that to everyone. It's like, now I'm like finally kind of getting to meet you because, you message people, but sometimes until you kind of talk to them face to face, like you never really met. And I've met so many great people. It's fantastic. I do love Instagram for that, but it's a love-hate relationship right now, I think.
Well, it's different because we've all seen you talk a lot, right? So we've, you know what I mean though? Like,
yeah.
It's probably different, just because there's plenty of footage of you out there talking away.
Yeah, and
we hear your voice, we see what you sound like. Same with like Sam and Chris, right?
Yeah.
It's not as weird. It feels like it's weird that it's not weird, right?
Well, it's actually, I was in the other night. It was like 4 people in it, and what's the name of it? Paintworks NYC. So like, I know I've chatted with this guy through messaging, and then when he came on and I seen his face, and I was like, it was almost like, where do I know this guy from? And I was like, oh yeah, he was in Chris's video. And then you start putting everything together and you're like, oh my God, this is the face to the guy I've been talking to for like 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been pretty cool. I think it's getting a little fucking twisted and I'm starting to not enjoy it as much, but I'm trying really hard to focus on what I came here for originally,
Yeah. I like to put out some content that's more like basics, I haven't posted. I was, my last post was April of 2021. So I haven't posted much, but I would like to do at least more conversations like this or something, because there's too much out there that makes everything look so easy. And it's like, who knows? Maybe these guys starting new companies feel like a failure because they didn't get to $500,000 in their first year of business. Mm-hmm. Like, who knows? Maybe that's the case. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of unreasonable expectations out there.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll say this right now to anyone that's listening, 500 to 1 million fucking followers is not going to bring you to 5 million in sales in painting at least.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want to do it in content marketing and using painting as your way to do it, maybe, but yeah, it's a little twisted, but hey, you know, that's the way it is. I think what happened was I got onto this. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then you start to like really look deep into it. I'm like, this isn't even my character at all. I'm like that introvert. Like, you know, I'm like, I don't need to be in the middle, but I like helping people. Who doesn't, right? So
yeah, that's for me. I don't have a need to be on social media. Like I don't post very often. I like having the conversations. I like bringing awareness. Like, but I made like a shit ton of mistakes, and it would be nice to like have people not have to go through those, or at least learn something.
Yeah.
You know, none of this was around like when either of us were learning.
Yeah, man.
Would have been nice to avoid a lot of this stuff. So, but you know, but it takes effort to like put together some kind of a program, you know, where you can like.
Well, that's like, cause I'm thinking the same thing to myself nowadays. The more people are coming out and they're coming out banging, and you're like, you have like 6 posts and you got like 50,000 followers. And like, now it's like, and I'm starting to say to myself, I'm like, okay, like, cause you said like, I don't really have a need. Neither do I. Like, I think really it helped me because I think with the type of work that I'm doing, and it's a little pretentious, that now the builders that would have never looked at me before, now they're like, oh, 20,000. It's like, yo. And then that just leaves it even more of a sour taste in my mouth, because I'm like, yo, that's not even like why I'm really like, that's not even how I got here. Like, can't you see the work? Like, nobody cares about the work anymore. How are we all getting participation ribbons now? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's like, you know, I mean, that's like, who cares? It helps, right?
Well, my wife says, she's like, if you can help 1-2 people, that's all that matters, I guess.
Listening to everybody go on live, you know, I enjoy it. I like hearing all you guys talk, even if I don't jump on or anything.
I know, I've tried to get you in a couple times. I'm like, this guy's either fishing, skiing, boating.
It's like,
yeah, I feel you.
You know, I like, it's just interesting to me, you know, hear you guys talk about paint or talk about whatever. You know, stuff going on the project, stuff going on with employees, with what it's interesting to me. You know?
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. I really enjoy it, and that's probably another reason why I'm still doing this shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But because it's cool, it's cool. Yeah. But hey, man, listen, I have some blast off questions that I think are pretty fun. So you can take as long as you want with them. You can pass. You can say yes or no or whatever. But these are kind of just for fun, just to kind of to end it off, you know?
Yep.
Ready?
Ready.
What's your favorite tool that you use in painting? Actually, it doesn't have to just be painting. Like, what's your favorite tool that helps you run your business? There you go.
Well, I think, did Philip say the 5-in-1?
He said the 5-in-1, yeah.
That's my favorite tool in painting.
Really?
Yeah, I just keep a 5-in-1 and a blade on me, like at all times.
Yeah.
100%.
Are you a painter pouch?
No.
All
right, you got a pocket on each side, one for the 5-in-1, one for the blade.
all right, nice.
For running business, that's my scheduling app. So we use When I Work is the software we use for scheduling. That I'm in every day. Well, that, and then I have a finance dashboard.
Oh, okay.
Built, and that's like tells us our runway at any given time, like how much money is in the account, what's coming in next, what's going out, like everything is in there. Like I could look at those 2 things and run the whole business from it.
Wow.
For the finances, like on that dashboard, I know exactly when we run out of money, you know. So, job in that week, and it's like, all right, now we're gonna run out of money the following week, right?
Gotcha. Nice.
Really, that's something I've been using for a long time. That's neat.
So what were the names, if you don't mind? What was the name of the?
When I Work. That's the scheduling app.
Okay.
The finance dashboard, that's just something we made.
Oh, so I see.
Made it in Google Sheets, but it's got formulas and everything. It's like, it's nice, really cool.
Spreadsheet master. Nice.
Yeah. Cool.
If not painting, what would you be doing?
Probably carpentry, finished carpentry, cabinet making, furniture. Like I like that. I think if I ever like retire, I'll probably get a shop, lots of nice equipment, and build cool shit out of like exotic wood.
Nice.
You know,
This old house style.
I think what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. Yeah, I liked it too. I actually started a apprenticeship program for that when I was in school to do carpentry, and I didn't follow through with it. I started traveling. Yeah. But all right, next one: paint or whites, yay or nay?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. So I wear khaki shorts and work boots. That's my uniform every day.
Okay.
But I like the whites on the job site for sure.
So all you guys wear whites?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every now and then someone doesn't, but they're all supposed to.
Do they get like in trouble or does it matter?
In trouble, teased a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, but it's yeah. I mean, we want to look professional in uniform, and I mean, it could be different colored pants or whatever if everybody is wearing the same thing. But
Gotcha.
I like the look of painter pants. I liked to work in painter pants. You know, I like the pockets. I like the whatever.
So, do you have like team shirts, like business shirts? Yeah.
Yeah. Company shirts and then whites. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Nice. Do you believe the earth is flat? If you said yes, I would be interested to hearing that. No?
Yeah.
Did you sorry, this is a quick little sidebar. Have you been paying attention at all to SpaceX and them going to Mars or anything like that? Are you interested in that shit?
Not a lot. Just on the outside, like here in Rand, but not a lot. Not details.
Well, I must say that they're doing some pretty remarkable things. I was actually quite shocked when I started looking into it and really reading on it and watching some stuff. It's pretty incredible. But the earth is definitely not fucking flat. I can tell you that.
I think I've listened to like a YouTube video on why the earth is flat. You know, it's like, all right, they have an argument. It's not a good one, but they have an argument.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's so funny, actually. What kind of brushes and rollers do you like to use?
Boy. For me personally, like I still have I still carry tools on my truck, right? Like I pretty much have everything because I go on job sites like, oh, we don't have a brush, we don't have a 9-inch frame, like whatever, you know? So I personally like, so I've got some brushes from Sam. Those are good brushes, the Old Fields.
Okay, yeah.
The HPG brush. Those feel similar to one another to me. I always have some blue Purdy brushes. And then some, what are they? Not the Blaze. I can't think of it.
Proform?
Proform, yeah. Yeah, so those are like my good throwaway brushes.
Okay,
you know?
nice.
That is $5.
You're good throwaway. So do you mostly throw away or do you guys clean or is it dependent on who's doing what?
So a Proform, I think it's a Contractor Plus or Contractor. Here they cost like $5, $6. So it's a brush where like if we're going to do something oil based, if we're going to do some varnish or something like that where, you know, like we're not going to use it again, you could use that brush on it, right? And then toss it.
Gotcha.
A nice enough brush where I could paint trim with it. You know, like it's like a nice brush. It just doesn't last that long. You know, they're like, I don't know, 5 jobs and it's trash or 10 jobs and it's trash.
Right.
But I like them though. You know, they're good.
And do your guys kind of tell you what they want or like do you provide obviously, or do you take requests?
Brushes, I'll give them like some brushes every now and then, right? Like I just show up on a job and like a couple brushes for everybody. But it's not like you got to take care of your brush. Like if I could buy everybody 5 brushes and have them really take care of them, I would 100% do it. But if I buy them 5 brushes, like in 2 weeks, those are going to be all dried up and like, you know. So when it comes to like personal tools like that, they need to provide that stuff. Yeah. I'll surprise them with some, but Um, yeah, like they got to take care of that stuff. But anything like to get the job done, I'll provide all that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, I kind of always thought the same way about a brush. It's almost not important, but it's almost like that same tool as like say your putty knife or your knife. It's like kind of for you, you know what I mean? So sometimes I find it not funny, but maybe people have a brush addiction, but I never seen a point in having more than like 2 brushes.
Yeah.
And I would wash the shit out of them. I mean, I don't do a lot of oil stuff, so I could definitely understand that. Our staining brushes, if I feel like it, I'll clean them. Most of the time they get tossed, but I like getting my brush like all formed, like it's like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like how I grew up, is like maybe you have 4 or 5 brushes at the most. And then you have those a long time. You just take care of them.
Oh, dude, I've had brushes like that. The freaking bristles are like that now, you know?
Yeah.
And some people would be like, that it doesn't work anymore. My uncle painted for like 40 years. That was the first time I ever seen that. Even I was like, you need a new brush. He's like, no, it's the best like this. It's the best for cutting these lines. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I've used some brushes that are like, you know, getting caked up on the top, but the bristles, you know, they're almost gone, but they make perfect lines.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Chicken or beef?
Beef, for sure. Some ribeyes.
Ribeyes, eh? You're a steak guy?
Yeah. Like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. If you could start another business tomorrow, what would that be? And not carpentry.
Yeah. That's a good question. It would probably be like a training business, something like that, for like painting.
Okay.
Just training.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like a different industry. I have no idea.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably go the music route if I could sustain a lifestyle off being a musician. I would try. I guess it's not a.
I like products. You know, I mean, if I could do like, I don't know, T-shirts or something like that.
Yeah.
Something without going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like that would. You know.
Yeah. Some mailbox money would be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the inventing side of things.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's gonna fucking believe me, but I had the fucking tip saver idea, prototype demo I swear to God, John, in my basement, and did nothing with it. And when it came out, I was like, fucking those guys are smart, man. Fuck. Fuck. But I think I would want to do something like that. You know, that I could develop products and be like that guy who goes into the grocery store that's like, like, what do we need, you know?
Yeah. Yep, definitely. That's fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun for sure. Here's a good one. What's one of the most painful things you've ever been told in business?
I don't know. I don't really take things personally very much, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I should have reiterated this question the more I read it. But I think I guess would it be like any big mistakes or anything that's had to happen where someone's be like, get out, or you're done, or we don't need you, or, you know?
There have been projects that I've been embarrassed by, like embarrassed.
Okay. There you go. I should change the question. Yeah. Okay.
Like, saying, should it be like this? Like, is this, like, you guys are calling this done? Right? Like, that's embarrassing to me. And I've told clients, like, straight up, like, I'm sorry, this is embarrassing to me. Like, you know, we make mistakes sometimes. This is really bad. You know, I apologize. We'll make it right, of course. But, you know, let me get it sorted out, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't,
nothing major, nothing too crazy.
No, I can't think of anything. I mean, we've got like workers' comp claims going on, so that hurt.
Oh, geez, yeah, that would hurt. Well, here's maybe another question. Have you ever had really big, costly mistake, whether from you or somebody else, and would you mind sharing how much?
The most costly is workers' comp claims.
Really?
So
Eh?
get hurt on a job site. Everybody around here gets a lawyer, and then try to get as much money as they can in the settlement or whatever.
Shit.
Like the name of the game around here.
Really? Hey.
Yeah, 100%. So those are the big ones, like we've had, but it's all workers' compensation. They pay it out. So they settle for 50 grand. I don't pay 50 grand. Yep. I do over the next 10 years probably.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
But not up front,
Yeah, they're like, Mr. John.
Yeah. So my rates are like sky high right now. I'm paying for tough. Years. I got a guy who fell off a ladder at 6 feet, broke his hip. Guy's like looking at permanent. He's an older guy, permanent disability.
Shit.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh my God. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But I don't think anything that's like a direct cost. We had we did this commercial building like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. And it's like 3-story building, all metal panels everywhere, smooth metal panels. And we were trying to spray it. And like we were testing samples on this one side for like a month, trying to get a nice finish. But it's like 3 foot tall panels by 15 feet wide. So we have this like wide open flat panel and it's showing spray lines. And it's like, fuck, like we were testing all kinds of different products. It's finally got one right. And I had 2 booms out there for a month while I'm doing this testing, so we're paying $200 a day or whatever to have them out there. And so we finally get a process that's working. We're doing a 2-part epoxy primer and then this water-based top coat. And we get everything sprayed. The epoxy primer was flying over the building and onto the cars in the parking lot.
Oh, ouch.
Thankfully, they all buffed out and everything. But
that's big, yeah.
$500 and car details.
Oh, man. Yeah, when I did my, I always remember this when I got my business insurance, like liability and stuff. That was like the first thing they asked me. Any parking lot spraying for cars and stuff? I was like, no. She's like, believe me, that's a big one. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Worked out, though.
That's what you learn, right?
Absolutely.
Costly lesson, but it's a lesson.
Yeah, you'll never make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure.
But you also learn, like, dude, this 2-part epoxy primer is like bulletproof. And the guys were able to buff it out and clay wax cars, and they were fine. Wow. $300, $325 a piece, no problem. So I learned that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice little fix, though. Better than insurance claims on all the cars or something like that, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
that'd be tough. That'd be tough swallow for sure.
All
right. Coffee or tea or neither?
Neither. I mean, I guess tea, like every now and then, but neither.
Not a coffee drinker, eh?
No coffee.
Fucking love that shit.
Yeah, so is my wife.
Really, hey?
Into it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. That's all right. That's all right. Sweet or salty?
Both for sure. Damn, that's tough. Probably salty, I guess.
I like sweet and salty together.
I like them together. Like some chocolate corn. That's pretty.
Which one? Chicago mix?
Or like the zebra popcorn.
Whatever. Oh yeah. I'm bad, man. I got a major sweet teeth. I'm not even going to say tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm off and on. Sometimes I'll go like a month of too many snacks, and then I'll go no problem and not think about it.
Yeah, my wife's on me hardcore right now because she's like, you know how fat people get when they're like broken legs and stuff and they're, bedridden? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry. I'll take it easy.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah. Is there a question you wish I would have asked or a question you wanted to ask me?
I don't know.
You could say no, Matt. You could say no. If you could change a few things about yourself now for the future, what would it be?
Yeah, my discipline on busy work. That'll be a big one. If I could be more disciplined in doing the mundane tasks.
Oh, dude, that's exactly. I'm like the guy that's like, yeah, I know this is going to pile up to a list and I'll just crush it all then,
Yeah.
but sometimes I'm like, man, like I could have just like easily checked those off as they came.
Yep. Yeah. I'm a procrastinator. I like pressure. Yeah. But it's not the best way to do things for sure.
No, I work well under pressure too, though. So,
Yeah.
Some quick hobbies.
Hobbies, snowboarding, surfing. What else? I like any sports.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah, any sports, any activities, hiking, running, climbing, whatever.
I'd love to try surfing. Never been able to try it. I went to Mexico, but where we went, it wasn't the best it was the best area for surfing, but not the best for beginners at that time with the weather. So I was like, oh, crap.
A lot of scary places. Like, it's not,
dude.
Yeah.
I would love to try it though. Like I skateboarded a little bit. I mean, not skating anymore at the moment, but it's always something I wanted to try.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Definitely sweet. Okay, man. Here's the last one. My favorite one. When's the last time you cried?
Oh man, it depends. Like I tear up at like anything sad. I don't like cry hard. I don't know when the last time. Maybe like when a family member passed away or something.
Yeah.
But like if like any little shit, like you see the videos of like the military dad comes home and surprises the kids, like all that shit.
Do you think that changed when you had kids?
It might have intensified.
It did for me, man. And now that my parents are getting older and like you can really start to see how precious time in life is. Like if a certain song comes on that I love, I'm just like, gotta change it.
Yeah, that's like, yeah. So that kind of stuff, like I have no idea. Like if my daughter gets married, how am I going to give a speech? Like there's no way I could get through that.
I feel you.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's good, man. All right. This is actually the last one. Just to sign it off, you've been a great, great guest, man. Much love and much respect. Do you have any advice you'd want to send off to people, whether they're starting out or whether it's just about life or how to keep happy? Like any advice you'd want to send us off with?
I think like the more people that can get a mentor, the better. Like if you can get somebody who is in a place you want to be, or I don't know, like it is in some position in life that you want or that you admire or whatever. Like if you could get them to like just have some conversations with you, like some accountability, keep you accountable maybe. People like to do that stuff, but they want you to follow through too. They don't want to waste their time, But I think accountability with a mentor is like probably a big one. That would have saved me a ton of time. If I could have had like one of these clients or a business owner that had been where I'd been or went through the trouble that I'm going through, like somebody to just help like clear out the fog, because I learned like almost all of my mistakes on my own. It was like I made a million mistakes to get to where I am, and I don't make as many anymore because I can see now, see a path. I can see what might go wrong if I take this path. But that would have saved me a lot of heartache. Probably would have helped me be more profitable earlier. Like there's a lot of stuff that would have cleared up for me. So yeah, probably like trying to get a mentor, even if it's not formal, like informal, just somebody you can talk to every now and then that might hold you accountable, like you could tell them like, hey, next time we talk in a month, I'm going to have XYZ done, like will you just check on me? It's like, yeah, cool, for sure. Everybody wants to help other people do good things, or be better or whatever. Like everybody wants to do that, but they don't want to waste their time. So it's like, you got to do your part,
Yeah. Yeah. You can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped, right?
No. And it's frustrating. Like I've had people on Instagram who's like, they want some help with stuff. And then, there's no follow through. There's no, like, it's like 3 months later, the same questions and same problems. It's like, do you remember last time we talked about this?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because someone just said, can someone mentor online? And I think, yeah, definitely. But it comes down to that mentor too, and showing a little bit of that tough love. Cause I feel that sometimes, and I want to be nice. I just have to find a really, really like polite way to say it. But eventually, yeah, you have to be like, yo, you just have to fucking do it, or you have to figure it out, or do what you say you're going to do. Right. So I think there's lots of people online, Pain Terminator, that could help you with that. But I would agree with John that it's a good thing to have somebody there. Definitely.
Yeah. You're probably similar, but like for me, I'm a big idea guy, right? It's like I have these great ideas, big ideas. I'm creative. I aim for the moon.
Oh yeah.
And every now and then I could use somebody who knows better than me telling me like, hey, that's a dumb idea, or you're going to waste a lot of time on it. You could do it if you want to. You're going to waste a ton of time on it. And at the end, you're going to be back at square one anyway. Like if you think about going this route instead, right? That's the kind of stuff where I didn't have, it was fun for me, because I like shooting for the moon, but it would save me a lot of grief and a lot of time, like I think right now, if I could go backwards, I could probably cut my time in half at least to be where I am now, right? To be at the sales we are, the profit, the income, all that stuff. I could have cut the time in half for sure. Maybe like 75%.
Yeah. Cause it takes time to burn and learn, right?
A lot of time. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's great advice, man. Absolutely. And once again, I wish I had that too. I didn't really have anyone. I wish I had Instagram too while I was learning, didn't. So yeah, I think that's super important for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, dude. Well, it's been great. You enjoy the rest of your time at the cabin. Thanks again so much. And yeah, for everyone that's listening, we got John Gilles. Yes, at Paint School. Real Paint Talks with PSC Live. Thanks again, John. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, too. See you later.
All right. Take care, man.